It was much sooner on the everybody ready to go than I was thinking.
Hi, everybody.
All right, Rain, episode 33.
Holy shit.
Everybody, schwa de schwa.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Uh, as usual, we're in an odd space. A lot of people here, not a lot of sleep, so we're just vibing.
Vibe.
Just vibes.
Let's vibe our way through Rain. Okay. Like all of our audio plays and stuff, this episode is brought to you by our patrons, all of our patrons, but especially our highest tier patrons who get a special shout out, which is Added Heart Blackest to G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV 9000, Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Sharvor, some guy named Bob, and Varian the Crow. I feel like we do most of these work source on Patreon. Thank you.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, so last time you guys made it to Highbower.
Yay.
I described the city, but I can describe it again because I know we were going a little long.
Yeah, I was kind of dead at the end.
I was dead at the time.
Yeah, a lot of people were there, so I think as evidenced by the fact that we the last like half hour to hour was accidentally just a triangle talk between Kefis, Inos, and Leslok.
Yeah.
The only people who were awake. So the town of Highbower I mentioned before is a manor town, not a castle town. There is an estate for the local lord, and it is a territory which is held by the royal family, so it gets moved around a lot. Currently, it is granted to the current queen, Guillermina. She's the governor of Highbower, and this, generates income, gives you something to do with your life, etc. Important stuff. Highbower, the terrain you're in is kind of in a wooded valley by the Trefoil River. So, you guys were up in the mountain foothills. You go downland into a river valley cut, and it's all, trees and stuff.
Pretty close to the Ferretti border, right?
Yep, House Ferretti's just across the river.
Okay.
So, trees around. It's middle of spring now, so probably trees are starting to be in flower bloom. So everything, it smells vaguely of pollen.
Inos sneezes out of nowhere.
I don't know why, especially because it's especially the night blooming kind. But I feel like whenever my brain conjures up flower smell, I think of night blooming jasmine. Just because it's real strong when the flowers start to bloom.
I think of that. Oh god, I can't even remember what they're freaking called, but it's like the orange one, the flower that spreads orange dust everywhere.
Yeah, there's a couple like that. But yeah, so very very springtime. Highbower is a plenty lucrative town. There's trees, obviously, so they have a lumber industry. They also are in the industry in weaving and fashion. They grow flax and hemp here, but also import cotton and wool. So you see, various levels of garment industry.
Cool.
Yep, that flax.
Also make a point to import fibers and fashions from across the river as well. But also, because they have that kind of wood, paper is a large industry here. Gesundheit, you're actually sneezing.
Yeah, no, the pollen got me. Look at that gif. Just
Theater of the mind.
placebo.
It's so real. But like I said, this is one of the first places in Crown to get a printing press. So there are paper makers, stationers, bookbinders, copiers, that kind of stuff in town as well. Which obviously meshes to one of the things you guys are probably going to go visit while you're here, because it's, early-ish, or rather late-ish morning, a little before luncheon time. But there's a public library and a university here, and also a hospital. The library and the university were here already. The hospital, there was... almshouses run by the church in the town previously, but the hospital is really the major form of patronage of the queen. A hospice for mostly soldiers and servants of the crown, but also still offering alms to the poor. It was also mentioned last week that her presence, obviously being from Tempest, the Espada lands, there are a couple of mercenary companies and fencing schools that have settled into the town. So to kind of recap for everybody what the city is like, it's very beautiful, very picturesque, but has kind of a rough, not quite rustic design. Like most things here are designed to be of the cutting edge of the time, but because these lands pass through so many different hands, like sometimes they are, in the hands of minor princes and grand dukes. Other times the holding is given as a reward for non-hereditary titles of knights and other positions. So the aesthetics kind of change through the ages. As you guys are riding your carriage and horses through the town, you've got cobbled streets. They're not really sidewalks per se at this stage of like urban design, but there are like pedestrian walkways that are covered over. There's lots of green space, sections full of trees where are planted, public flower gardens, that kind of thing. So again, everything's kind of in bloom and going. The kind of people you see are usually craftspeople, and a decent number of, I guess what you would call, again, in this context, middle class, scholars, merchants, surgeons, and doctors. But there are, woodsmen, fishers, boatmen, and other laborers as well, especially living more towards the riverside. There's a small district for smaller residences for nobles. Just no need to roll if you guys are just asking questions or getting instruction about the city. Most of the people here are retired officers of the law. This is a great place when you get probably too old to go carrying spears and swords and yelling orders in the field, but not important enough that they make you keep doing it. You get to have quiet retirement to a house and paint watercolors or whittle or something.
So you would, so Omega, you could literally call this place the farm upstate?
Yeah, kind of. It is upriver, so this is just a nice picturesque place to go. There are also summer homes for various ranked nobles from around Crown as well. Again, the architecture style is kind of varied. Usually you have wood frames, some are even like rough log frames, but others are using fired clay bricks. You go a couple blocks and you'll see different styles. The newest houses and buildings have a lot of, I mentioned this before, entrance from Celticy in the south. So like mosaics, wood frame colonnades and arcades, like covered walkways and shopping spaces you can walk through. Very big in Celticy because it's very fucking hot there. You want shade. But you want it open so you can get a cross breeze. That sort of stuff. Lots of, brightly colored white painted facades. Older buildings are much more organic, or even some have like a living look to the frames. Use a mix of like flat wood panels and the aforementioned like brick and stucco facades. So you guys kind of sweep through town and go all the way to the Highbower Manor. The manor itself is pretty straightforward. It's a simple but expansive design. I think all of you have, on this tour alone, seen enough different phases of architecture and buildings being built that you understand that this place has been, refurbished a couple of times. It's frames and bones have been built upon a few times or two. As you guys have explored, like, actual, ancient ruins and seen very modern constructions, so...
I imagine compared to what we're used to, this
Yes.
Highbower looks fairly new. Because
Yeah,
isn't a lot of Teine stuff like real fucking old?
You guys have a lot of older stuff. I imagine, especially because a lot of your buildings are probably built out of stone or fired brick foundations, because that insulates better.
Keep the heat.
Lots of either like loose thatched roofs, because thatch also insulates very well, or very high steeples to shed snow. The roofs of here, including on Highbower Manor, are much more like gently sloping. the manor has a stone and brick facade, has a couple of, archways where you walk in, or just artistic arch designs in the walls. Tall windows, sturdy shutters. Because you can get some spring rain and stuff through here. Moderately sloping roof, but they've got a nice, reddish, burnished tile look to them. There's a handful of similarly styled outbuildings. You've got stables, servant quarters, other functions like that. You guys go up the carriage walk, park all your wagons, get all your stuff out. You will be, staying here overnight. At some point on this trip, Prince Alias would have said, besides from to reiterate his, offer that since we're only staying here the day, he will give you a brief tour around town, because he's very familiar with this town. It is technically his birthplace.
Wonderful.
But he would also be sure to mention to you that the riverboat schedules are, in this time of year, not always exact, but it should be mid-morning before a boat is prepared to depart for 4 leaves. So we'll be staying the night. Yep. So, you guys are taken into the manor. Guest rooms are arranged. These are all, again, fairly modern. Presumably either the queen herself or she hired people to, redecorate everything. Kind of trying to imagine what would, like, the current style of, like, Celtic interior furniture be. Probably a lot of, like, slim, light woods, bright, summery colors. Probably kind of, like, for you guys, much lighter on, like, the throw rugs and, the heavy fur blankets and stuff. Because it's a hot climate down there. And especially when you're on the southern side of Celtic, it's a hot, wet climate.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
We
like
probably don't
not a
actually
lot
have-
of heavy fabrics.
Nah.
So for you guys, it's probably kind of, like, very, very light.
Do we have quilts? Do we, like, stuff quilts with, like, down and throw them over bed?
Yeah, you would have quilted fabrics and probably stuff them with down.
Okay.
But as you guys are, being settled into your rooms and your stuff are being moved around, you may take note that as the queen is on her state visit to Tempest, the manor is at a minimum staff, which is still very respectable. You see a decent number of uniformed knights and squires who are members of the Queen's Guard, and just general equerries and footmen, even a few minor, knighthoods who are just serving the royal household. You are introduced by the Crown Prince to the person currently minding the house. That is Dame Paige Gilroy. She is one of the Queen's senior ladies in waiting. She's not the senior most lady in waiting. That would probably be a member of a noble house. Dame Gilroy is a minor nobility. She is a educated woman from a landholding family. Her relatives are probably knights or other military officers. But as you can tell from her surname, she is not from certainly not from a high house and not from any of the major banners. There are a handful of, like, third-tier noble families that are just not included in the documents because tracking down every single person who has, like, a hereditary land title would be a pain in the ass. So there's some free-floating nobles and knights out there. But she's, pleased to meet you all. She's her stats should already be in the Dramatis under Citizens of Crown. So she's, a senior lady in waiting, a older woman, dressed very pleasantly in kind of, I would say probably bright spring colors, comfortable wear. The prince introduces you to her as I said, Dame Paige Gilroy, but he refers to her as Miss Paige, Actually, honestly, probably outside of his immediate family, the most affectionate you've seen him with anyone. You know, he accepts a light hug, kind of a thing. You know, kiss on the cheek, sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Introduces you all. I'm sure you're all very polite.
Yes.
Yes.
We're gonna meet a couple of characters, so I need to open up a private channel to D1
Oh, jeez.
and have him secretly roll uncanny or unwholesome checks.
Secret unwholesome.
Yeah, I've decided I'm gonna do it that way. Is I'm gonna D1 roll, and I will just I will merely inform Lucky at the end of the session if somebody procced it, and hopefully we can tell through role playing cues when people are suspicious.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If this was like a CRPG, it would be just like that, where it's like a Dota for like the dialogue chain.
You just randomly see disapproves.
You just hear the sound of a dice roll, and that's it.
But yes, no, she's like, oh, pleasure to meet you all.
Sorry, no, you hear the fucking
will-
LA Noir, like sting. Dun, 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 dun.
I will greet her warmly.
Pleasure as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I'm just checking my notes. The prince would probably ask, Miss Page, is Lady Callie in? It's like, yes. She's in the house. The prince turns. The young lady Callie Gilroy. Miss Page's daughter is a student at the university, studying matters of law, medicine, etc. She has been a member of the household for many years. Miss Page, kind of pats him on the shoulder and says, "No need to be so modest, Your Highness." And she just kind of waves off and says, "No, don't worry about it. Yes, I think we'll have to invite her for tea. But if she's studying, I do not wish to interrupt her efforts." They have a little bit of back and forth. And it basically seems that the Lady Calibrid is not busy with anything, so she's come down. So you're introduced to her as well.
Right.
She is exactly the prince's age. She's about 23. She is how would I say, a pretty but not striking young woman. Like I said, she is the same age as the crown prince. Did we actually find a dice roll sound?
Yes.
Perfect. It'd probably be too annoying if I coded D1 to make that sound, to play that sound every time I don't think you could do that. He's not in the VC, but that'd be handy.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, as I said, her full name is Calibrid Gilroy, but the prince calls her, and Agave Cheval call her just Lady Callie or Callie, with a Y.
Okay. Can I make an empathy roll?
Yeah, sure, go for it. To finish describing her, like I said, she is a courtier. She is technically ranked as a squire. Her father is retired military. So, little below average height.
Of course.
Fashionable build, kind of, rounded rosy cheeks. Oh, 2s and 5s. Who are you aiming your empathy roll at?
Agave Cheval.
Okay.
How well do they get along?
Well, you've succeeded at empathy, and I don't think Agave would be concealing this. No, she's perfectly friendly and polite. There's no like brittleness or false warmth.
Gotcha.
They're not really like close. You rolled 2 sets, so there's definitely like there's a and if any of the rest of you want to roll empathy, feel free. But I would say to Nicola, you definitely notice with 5s there is a kind of like, I don't want to say necessarily closeness, but openness between Lady Callie and the prince that is unusual.
Okay.
He's probably the least guarded he is with her as he is with Agave Cheval, and arguably even less guarded than he is with his own siblings.
Interesting.
But not necessarily seems like any more closeness to it, like I said.
Gotcha.
But as far as you can tell, Agave Cheval does not seem to have any strong feelings one way or the other.
Gotcha.
She is polite, probably moderately warm, but she's also sometimes a little, a little tight britches.
I mean, Agave Cheval is just kind of
No,
tight
no,
britches, regardless.
no, so more than that. No, so more. I can
I understand
speak.
what you meant. Yes.
No more so than usual.
Yeah. Yes, Dame Callie, medium skin tone, dark blue eyes, golden curly hair, kind of a shoulder length. Like I said, a little above or under average height, fashionable build, rounded rosy cheeks. She speaks in a very prim, proper, educated way, as opposed to her mother, who's more a little country dearie.
Cute.
Actually, yeah. Nicola, since you did roll empathy, and like I said, anybody else who wants to get on the empathy train, feel free. You're meeting new people. I would also say, Nicola, that
I technically rolled that with a handicap too.
She speaks, politely, pleasantly, and mentions that she's studying things that actually you're familiar with. She's studying law, natural philosophy, and medicine.
I'm familiar with 2/3 of that.
Yeah, like you understand, and you probably understand a little bit about the
law,
the legal rights. You don't know anything about legal procedures, but you're decently generally educated. But her posture and even her tone sometimes does get a little military. You assume that's from having military parents, but she's got a little bit of rigidity in there.
3, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, nothing.
Logesh, nothing.
Yep.
Konrad, you pick up all that shit I said already.
Yeah.
And Inos managed to roll almost a straight, so...
I almost typed it wrong.
Great, okay.
Pink Pony Club.
Let me see if I can find... Ah, here it is.
Yes, so, yeah, but while you guys are, quirking your eyebrows and thinking about all of that, Lady Page, Dame Page, does drop one more thing on you,
Son of a bitch.
which she says, and Your Highness, so one more matter, yes, his visit is unannounced, but I must inform you that, your younger brother, the second prince, is in attendance at the manor. Ace is not like shocked, but he is a little surprised. He's like, kind of like, oh, what is
The second prince?
Menas?
Wait, is he the nerdy one?
It's one we never met.
You've
met
seen him.
him.
You've met him.
No, that's what I'm saying. We've met the I think we've met the second prince, and he was kind of very subdued.
Yes, a little.
From
Yes,
memory, he was one of the people trying to get a dance with Agave Cheval.
Yes, he did offer. She did refuse. Anyway, many years ago. I'm sure that's just, high school shit.
God, if Loth shouts to another duel.
This is where someone makes the joke about it's all high school shit. It's high school shit all the way down.
It's always has been.
Yeah, I was gonna make the joke, but I was laughing at.
Mhm. But yes, Alias asks about what is Menace doing, and Dame Page says, I believe he said, Your Highness, that he is visiting the library. He's checking out some of the tomes there to see if they can be selected or copied for the collection at Palais Clairlune? Yes, and Alias kind of nods, and as an aside to you, through the vehicle of exposition, Alias mentions, yes, I believe you have not had much opportunity to spend time with my younger brother. It would be rude of me to say he fancies himself a scholar, because he is one. Busies himself with studies of history, folklore. Lately, in the subject of antiquary. Basically, proto-archaeology. The field of archaeology hasn't been invented, but we're working on it. Alias does kind of, get a little wry smile on his face and, kind of taps the side of his chin and says, though, don't let his disposition fool you. He was tutored in swordsmanship by my uncle, the Marquess of Tempest. That would be Lord Espada.
The scary one. I think he's the scary one.
He's the one I'm going to have to deal with.
You guys can feel free to be scared about anybody you like.
And I have a list of people I'm scared of, and currently there are 5 names on it.
Well, we'll be seeing him later. If we call upon the library, we may ask. But, he kind of turns, clasps his hand to you. Everyone all settled in? Unpacked for the day?
Of course. Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, let us go out. Do not worry about luncheon, Miss Page. We shall taketh of the finest foods of Highbower for ourselves. We will return for dinner. A private dinner, mind you. She just kind of, smiles warmly and nods. Of course. Well, come, my friends. Let us walk the streets.
We just... I'm sorry, I know it's not, but we just turn around and the little old lady just pulls out her phone and just opens up the contact list. It's like, time to call everybody.
No, she's not gonna fuck over the the crown prince. It will be a private affair. But yes,
Mostly it'd be calling people up to be like, don't go there. Leave them alone.
But, he'll show you around. There's a garment district, as I mentioned before. There's a riverfront. There's a little bit of a market district.
Cool.
I don't think you guys need souvenirs, but if you want to do a little shopping, you can.
I did want to pick up some books.
Yes, there are, like I said, in the market district, plenty of bookstores, both what we would think of as like normal, secondhand bookshops, like people just buy and sell books. But there are also printing companies who, publishers, I should say, publishing houses who actively publish manuscripts and sell books. So you can find both fiction and nonfiction.
Inos won't hold up the tour, though, and just make note of them for later.
Of course. The prince is obliged to stop if you want to putter around, but it would probably be more like a general area of like, all right, let's explore this, block or so.
Yeah, no. I imagine that Inos will probably actually have to spend some time in the shops to find the kind of books he wants, so it's not necessarily he will do right now, but he will probably meander around the area, look in there, peek his head into shops, maybe ask a word or two of people in there, but generally not hold things up.
I think if it's not going to hold things up, I think Logesh as well would take some time to just see if there's any good local spirits or wines available.
Honestly, probably not at this season.
Ah, damn.
I don't necessarily know what season you start uncasking your barrels, but
Generally spring-ish.
Yeah, they might have
Spring,
some
summer.
aged spirit. But
But
it
it
is
might have
not a major
aged
output of this town.
Spirits. Yeah. That's okay. Thought I'd ask.
I believe it's
though-
late spring.
Yeah, it's still like early to mid-spring right now. So still aging. Speaking of food and drink, though, like as the prince alluded, if you want to catch a local meal, catch some luncheon, it's actually basically street food,
Oh,
even for high class diners like yourself.
City dogs.
No, not at that level, but there are battered and fried fritters of fish, fried fish fritters, sides of bread rolls. You can also get pot boiled crayfish right out of the pot. Tiny little river shrimp. Desserts of ginger
Crawfish,
snap
shama,
biscuits.
shama.
So yeah, just get a couple of little bites of fried and boiled foods. Like I said, get some side of some bread, little dessert. You're ready to rock. So there are three. I would say like major points of interest here, and the prince will ask you where you guys want to go first: the library, the university, the hospital.
I mean, Nicola will not speak up, but he knows where he would want to go first.
Oh.
I'm trying to remember what we discussed last week about what we're gonna do where.
We didn't.
Okay.
We didn't.
Yeah, we putted into town after saying let's end in 30 minutes, which turned into like an hour.
Yeah. Inos will speak up about the hospital. He is curious about it, and like I said, he's in the mood for maybe giving some alms.
Okay.
That's fine.
How do you feel, Marquis? Marquess, I forget.
Marquis Marquess.
No, don't.
Yeah, actually, how do we?
Marquess and the Funky Bunch.
I think we usually say Marquess.
Yeah, that was it. Like, I know Marquis is like a title, but I'm pretty sure.
It's
is
the same.
Marquis.
It's just the French English split.
That's what it is. Marquess and Marquis. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we've been using Marquess. So no Marquis.
Yeah, I'm used
Marquis
to
Marquess.
Marquess
Marquess the
Logi.
Marquis.
I
Played way
expect
too many
to-
Assassin's Creed games to say anything other than Marquis.
I bet.
I expect to end up taking too much time in the library, so I'll do that one last. So let's start with the hospital.
Makes sense.
That is what I was going to suggest.
Prince kind of nods.
I'll
Yes,
take that
it
as
was a somber visit, but still very interesting. And let
I
us go.
agree.
So yes, like I said, it's not like a touristy spot, but it is a interesting place to be. It's a public almshouse and hospice, provides medical care to mostly former soldiers and also basically employees and officers of the crown, drawn from any of the departments of the King's Council. If you one of your benefits of scoring a royal position is access to these kinds of benefits. I think technically we're at the phase of like pensioning as well. Like not a lot, but if you did your time for the crown, you can expect to get benefits.
Mm-hmm.
The prince rattles off some basic facts. It is funded and supported by the Church of the Seven, hence the name. But it was founded in Highbower by the locals and is a major patronage of the Queen. Anybody who wants to know more about Saint Osane, because it's Saint Osane's hospital, go ahead and roll either lore. Should there be a difficulty? No, probably not. It's lists of saints. If you don't want to roll lore, you can roll no or student of religion instead.
I will just roll knowledge.
Omega.
This is telling me.
Can I make an argument? Can
No.
I make an argument to roll student of medicine?
No, it probably should be lore.
Okay, that's fine.
3 9s.
Sorry,
Also,
what's
I
the
got a
roll
point of
again?
wing now.
Nice. You can
Oh,
play it,
I'm
right?
thinking, what's
Roll
the
it on
roll
those
for?
dice.
Knowing about the saint.
Yes, knowing Saint Osane.
So, law?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lore. Or student religion.
Hey.
Okay. Logesh actually remembers. Yes, so, those of you who succeeded in your role recall Saint Osane is one of the oldest recorded saints in the church, and this is why I can safely say it's not medicine. Because they are an accounted a faith healer, a miracle worker.
Oh,
They did set up some of the church's earliest practices of like healing and alms for the poor, but again, this is like techniques that are hundreds upon hundreds of years old. Very basic stuff like just kind of helped establish a precedent that the church helps people who are sick even if they can't afford it, kind of a thing. Basic rules of like washing injuries, changing bandages, that kind of stuff. You did roll well enough to know that there is a clerical order, a holy order dedicated in her name. That is the Order of Healing Waters. Order of Healing Waters does have a small monastery here attached to the hospital. But most of the staff are surgeons and doctors from a variety of background, though brother and sister monks, monks and nuns do assist with some of the duties. So you see a few people in the religious garb around, but mostly it's people dressed as like I said, doctors and surgeons. So lots of white clean smocks, and cassocks, kind of a thing. Doctors' robes, similar dress to what Nicola rocks out on. A few people are wearing like leather or work gloves if they're doing serious internal work, because there would be space here for a small surgical suite, because it has its background, like I said, in military hospice. And you walk around the general structure. You'll be introduced to the chief of medicine, who is a member of the Royal Society from a nondescript upper class background. You don't really need to know any more about him, so just the chief of medicine.
cool.
Chief McMedicine.
Yes. But you get a show around. There are, like I said, operating rooms, surgical suites. Probably even have like a operating theater. For educational purposes. That would be something that's very cutting edge. The bulk of the buildings, which are not like modern hospitals of like big cement blobs kind of a thing, but more again, light wooden construction.
Oh, excuse me.
Airy. There are gardens. You see people in hospice, in like loose patient smocks and tunics, kind of relaxing, undergoing I guess what we would think of as like rudimentary physical therapy. There are a couple of injured soldiers and knights here who are either getting used to simple prosthetics or like walking with crutches, etc. People with bones that are being cast and healed. So a lot of rooms are just like, hospital rooms. They're there for patient rooms for people to recover. There are probably some like open hospital wards that are just like curtains and beds kind of a thing. But there are also private rooms for people who need quiet. There's not really like an emergency room type of thing, but like there is space for, like I said, this is an almshouse. So like if you're poor and need food, or you're sick, or you're injured, you can show up and be like, "Oh, woe is me. I am poor. My finger bone is broken."
Injured.
And they're like, "All right, cool. Throw holy water on you, wrap up your pinky in gauze, send you home."
Give you a snack.
Yeah. There is probably like a little bit of a medicinal smell here, because I'm sure they are making their own medicines, and there's lots of boiled water because they're like washing bed sheets and stuff. Got a little bit of an antiseptic smell.
I don't notice it at all.
Of course, this is normal to you.
Like the first thing to go during medical school is your nose.
As I said, the chief of medicine kind of takes you around. one thing that's probably the most interesting is that the chief of medicine mentions, yes, we have an office of coroners,
Hmm.
medical examiners working with the crown constables. It is not always that we request autopsy is the word. And he would probably give you a canned explanation of an autopsy, which probably to everybody but Nicola would be something that is not super common. I don't know if the Iron Demons would normally perform medical examination of someone who's died. But
No.
kind of it explains the concept of like, well, if somebody's killed in a crime or in a mysterious way, we have coroners to medical examiners to look over them and attempt to identify.
Enos would ask a question if they are respectful of the dead bodies.
Of course, sir, of course. Actually, the Office of Coroners is operated by an order of Deitazita,
Oh.
Order of Silent Graves. Here's my chief coroner right now. Excuse me,
Wouldn't that
Lady
be,
Reverend Mother.
wouldn't it be speaking great? Never mind.
No, the Inos. Should I have you roll? No, you might know a little about this. Have heard of them. They are dedicated to Deitazita. You are familiar with the concept of penitent orders. Order of Silent Graves is a clerical order that is different from that. They are an order mostly in the human sphere, but they are dedicated to tending and keeping graves.
Okay.
Because that is one thing that would be usually is an aspect of the Church of the Seven that is considered, kind of Deitazita's wheelhouse is funerary rites, grave sites, etc. So the Order of Silent Graves' job is to, dig graves, set headstones, make sure bodies are buried appropriately with proper rites, etc.
Okay.
And so you all are introduced to the local head of the Order of Silent Graves. We mentioned her before. She is styled Reverend Mother Kerezumbria. Also already on the Dramatis.
Oh, okay.
I made sure to pre-add some people. This will be under Church of the Seven.
Okay.
So she's, a middle-aged woman, kind of, medium height, wearing something between, like, a full, like, a nun's, or priestly cassock, or the kind of, like, tunic and coat of a doctor, but in, dark colors, clerical collar, wearing the full, like, headdress and veil. Though she does have a small, pipe of something herbal. She, does smoke through the veil. Something that it's probably not. If it is Baco, it's probably mixed with something because it smells distinctly like herbal. But presumably, it wards off the smell of dead people.
Yeah.
Yep, that should smell bad.
So she kind of, appears, respectfully inclines her head, does have a slightly deeper bow for, Inos. But, just says, Chief? It's like, oh, yes, we have visitors. I was just explaining about, the coroner's office. She says, I'm the head coroner here. It is our duty to, tend to the dying and the dead. And if in such preparations we can discover what has done them in, it is better for everyone. Any further questions?
Enos pops in. How did this office come to be? Per se. Like, I can understand.
She's kind of smiling under her veil. Go ahead.
It's like I can understand the idea. Like, you look at a wound, you get an idea of what it is, but normally we leave the dead be, as it were. Not
As I
necessarily.
said, she's kind of smiling under her veil. She says, It was a request of the Crown Coroners first. My order, as I'm sure you're at least vaguely aware, tends grave sites that are sanctified all over Tricron. Lay the dead to rest, make sure their stones are clean, make sure nothing interferes.
Mm-hmm.
But this often means that both priests and laymen of the order handle corpses, bring them to the undertaker, measure them for coffins, clean and embalming, that sort of thing. And I believe it was several years ago now, but yeah, no, probably assuming you guys are making sure to be full in your introductions.
Oh, yeah.
Probably gives a significant aside glance to Leslok, the Marquess Logi. I believe that a previous Lord Marshal had some very interesting ideas about the nature of investigation. And so it came out to the Crown Constables that a system of examining dead bodies would be brought to determine if they were accidental or intentional. Since our order is one of the few who has made a habit of noting such things, even if it's just, oh, old Billy the Tanner died with an axe blade in his head. That one happens quite a lot, I'm afraid. But
Unfortunate.
it is the nature of our order to take these notes, and so our expertise has been turned to this. There are no orders that, no other orders that strictly desire to handle or mishandle the dead.
Inos looks a bit thoughtful at this, and it's just like, Like, honestly, considering that it's an order of Deatacida handling this, there's nothing for really him to complain about. If there's people who...
Yeah, I honestly, you probably would get the impression without needing to roll thing that this is, like... Obviously, she is implying that it was probably Leofric's design to, like, improve the nature of the Crown Constables to be like, hey, is there any way we could have our guys figure out if people are, murdered or just got drunk and fell down some stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I
need to
do
figure out which of these cases are actually that they fell down the stairs.
Yes, but that obviously, because it seems to be something that he was only in his position for like technically under 20 years, 15ish years.
They might
Because
have
I think it would have been like he wasn't appointed to that rank until a little after you guys all would have been born.
Mm-hmm.
So like he didn't have a time to like really build up a test, like a bed of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go? Well, the Order of Silent Graves, and there are probably a couple of other orders like them, are your religious order who aren't afraid to handle dead people and are, in the art of making sure that your dead are properly treated. They are embalmed, given last rites, properly buried, their graves are properly identified, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she implies that, like, her order is out there with shovels and lanterns and big pokey sticks, stopping anybody from performing any sort of grave robbery, wild dogs from digging up the graves.
Oh, yeah.
Zombie status, unknown.
Yeah.
Mm.
Certainly, a woman you think of Reverend Mother Umbria's ice cold demeanor has the ability to strike a skeleton with a shovel if she needs to.
Nicola would probably what's the best way to say this? I don't want to just say like, because this is something Nicola would be interested in, is like comparing the usual state of someone. I'm trying to think of a way that Nicola would phrase this because I don't think this is actually known information yet.
Well, while you think about that, Enos will ask, has there been a lot of success in discovering stopping? I'm assuming basically to catch those who have gotten away with murder and whatnot.
Well, our exact success rate is a matter for the constables to determine, but I believe since we've started making sure to actually publish our literature and perform study, that indeed there are cases of deaths that were thought to be accidental, which have been proven to have been malicious, and cases of suspicious death, which have been truly nothing but misfortune. We've also been branching out into identifying possible cases of people dying of infectious diseases as well.
So
And the royal physician, that's right. I'm trying to think of what's the actual position name. It's not a lordship. The royal physician has actually been sponsoring the efforts of examiners in that department.
I see. So truly, it is a task worth doing.
Most tasks are worth doing. It's just how much is it worth to you?
Well said. Enos is gonna reach into his fucking purse.
Oh, you're gonna start donating?
Yeah.
How much you want to lay out? You've got the houses document should have the conversion chart for wealth to coins. So
Actually, yeah. Let me pull that out here. I can just throw wealth 4 and not care. So let's see here. But let's yeah, where is it? Oh, it's in the armory. That's right.
You know,
You can throw like 10
I
crowns.
feel like Nicola is not going to ask this question because the previous Nicola with a lower empathy score probably would have.
Yeah, let's use fucking crowns. Yeah, no, Enos will just reach out into his purse, pull out 8 crowns, stride over to the good Reverend Mother, and just gently take her hand in his and place them into him, and it's all like, and just state, and that things worth doing should be paid in sum. Please take this for your efforts. Use it as you think best.
she, clasps your hand, in both hands and probably puts them in like a pocket of her smock for safekeeping.
Mhm.
'Cause I don't think she's wearing a coin purse on her.
Yeah.
Kind of, bows her head again a little to you and says, "A princely sum, sir. The order and the hospital appreciate it."
And it's like, Enos, kind of, not necessarily looks imperiously down, but draws himself up and looks down, and it's all like, and just says, it's like, it is only fitting for one who served the silent goddess.
Yeah, she again kind of does probably a deeper bow and does some sort of religious gesture you would associate with Dea Tacita.
Yes. But with that,
Honestly, it's probably what it actually is just because even if she's not a penitent, that's one of the major orders of Dea Tacita. Probably just sign something in penitent sign, which you can follow.
yes.
I was actually going to say, because I felt that's kind of where you were going. Nicola may want to figure out a politer way to phrase it, but like, this order, the Order of Silent Graves, or this Officer of Coroners anyway, is like they are developing medical literature basically of like figuring out ratio of decomp.
No, Nicola needs to like figure out a polite way to like compare notes.
The theory that they're probably going with is just that like much like fire burns, just ambient heat and wet breaks things down. Once your body is no longer maintaining itself, that just sets in, kind of a thing. I don't
believe
you guys aren't at the stage
yet.
of understanding, microscopic decomposers
Yeah,
yet.
we're not
but,
at microbe theory yet.
But
it's one of those things of like, well, if it's hot and wet, that, breaks down things that are not alive. When you're dead, you're not alive, so you get broken down.
Nicola will actually probably politely inquire if there is any way to like look at any of the notes and such that they have on, like, obviously not of specific things, because that would be rude and breach of privacy, but just like general observations.
Yes, no. I didn't really put this in my notes, but I was going to mention earlier that I'm not going to roleplay with myself, but like, shocking nobody. Kefis Verity is probably also going to carry on a conversation with this woman back and forth for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As we said, he's on the line to between him and Leslok for you guys to start developing forensic theory.
Because I was going to have I was like stuck trying to figure out how to word it, but I'm just gonna say the idea. Leslok wanted to think if he could possibly get copies of the notes they have on like actual like composition and stuff like that, so they can maybe make a basis for his own things at home.
Yes, no. And you know, it's up to the rest of the party if they think that's weird. If you know, maybe the chief of medicine thinks it's a little odd, but again, this lady does not bat an eyelash. No, she can basically distribute to you copies of their literature, which is like basically like probably like in like essay or treatise form of just like, okay, we've copied down, you know, general signs of death and decomp, you know, after we recovered a body of a guy we know has been dead for, you know, so many weeks. He was in this state, as opposed to found a body of a, you know, found a body of a person who was freshly killed.
Now I'm just imagining this order. They would not do it because it would be hella considered disrespectful. But I'm just imagining this order having a body farm. Of, like,
no, we're not at like.
So
we're
if
not
we
quite
blow
to
it
the
up
state
with
of
this kind of explosive, it looks like this.
No, we're not
that's
to that
essentially
level of
that's like
forensics. Like, we're
decades
not
from
to
now.
like donating your body to science type shit yet. But they
It's
have,
not
you know,
actually that far out. That was
no, that
done
is
in the
that is like a thing that
1800s.
could be
I said
reasonable. But like I
decades,
said,
yeah.
this order's not at that level yet. They just, like I said, have a lot of notes they've taken of like observing both humans and animals of just like, well, you know, if we know somebody's been dead and they've been dead, you know, this many weeks, they look like this. You know, probably like there's probably a certain amount of politeness to these descriptions because none of them are personal, but some of them do get a little grody in their details, you know, talking about stuff like you know, the bloating and then reducing phases that happens with real corpses, that kind of stuff. This would not be brought up out loud, but you know, like if you require
level of insect level of insect devouring.
Yes, the level of these you know, moments of the conversation.
No. That is the one place where despite his high empathy roll, Nicola will have absolutely no tact for not saying things that people might be green about.
If you get too bad in a public conversation,
No.
Alestra would probably trot on your foot politely.
That might have to happen.
But like I said, you know,
oh,
this is
right.
just like
There's public space, not a classroom, public space.
Yes, no, I think I actually don't know if it's been brought up on recording, but I definitely know that we've talked about you and Kefis probably theory crafting a little. Because obviously you, Leslok, and several other people in your family of the Logis are very interested in the concept of solving crime for some reason. It's almost like there's a critical trauma in your past that remains unscathed. Yeah, no. Like I said, I don't want to roleplay with myself, but Kefis asks probably a couple of polite questions, and like I said, Leslok and Nicola seem inclined to jump in on, and you know, you can be distributed, like I said, small copies of their literature to take with you and study later. Is there anything else about either the hospice or anything else going on there you guys want to know about?
Nicola would probably, as nice as Lady Mother Reverend Umbra, is that her name?
That would be her surname, yes. Or technically
Yeah.
her title. You're not sure.
As she has been kind to us, I will Nicola, similar to Inos, is probably going to make a donation just directly to the hospital, because I assume there is a box for that.
Yes, there will be donation boxes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Inos was very
But no.
specifically giving his donation to the Order of Silent Graves.
And I appreciate that, but spoiler, the reason I posted the Luigi wins by doing nothing is because this is exactly where Nicola wanted to go first.
Yeah,
What's
no,
that nothing?
Like, Dallas, I understood.
I was like, yes. Excellent.
My first immediate thought was hospital, Nicola. Okay.
Also, by the way, just to put in perspective for the people at home, when Inos handed her about eight gold crowns, that's the equivalent of like somewhere between like I think it's like a ratio of like 10 or even 100 to 1. That's several hundreds of marks worth. You basically handed her most of the equivalent of a working man's salary for the year.
Yeah. Well, I know she said that like the chief physician or the royal physician has had an interest in here, but it has been Inos' experience is that people are a little too leery of the dead and leery of people who work with the dead. So he definitely wanted her to feel like no, people see them. Definitely Inos sees them.
This is actually an
You will
interesting
see.
question.
You will heard.
This is actually an interesting question I have then, Omega. More of a world question.
Yeah.
So judging by this conversation, would the Order of Royal Medicine work with the various orders of Dea Tacita?
Probably occasionally. Like, you guys,
Okay.
if somebody does die in your care, you have to dispose of those bodies.
So yeah, I'm probably fairly chill around those
You've
of Dea
probably met
Tacita.
some lay priests and even possibly some sworn priests who are humans of Dea Tacita because, like I said, there's the rules for handling dead bodies. I believe are at least to your culture in Teine fairly strict. You guys know better than to cross boundaries.
Yeah.
That's how you get Draugr. And Draugr are bad.
Yeah,
So you
so
get a lot of things actually. Anyway. What was
just thinking of
Konrad
Teine
thinking of doing? Because
specifically.
I want to say, if Konrad wants to drop a little coin at the hospice,
I
that should
mean,
be fine anyway.
it was, but then Nicola did it, and he can do way more than I can. So
It's the thought that counts,
yeah, no, like
Though again, in character-wise, though, if Konrad wants to be, rather, if you want Konrad to be discouraged, I should phrase that better, by Nicola's, I don't know actually how much
probably
you
would not
donate?
do. I'll be honest. I probably would. No offense. I probably would not donate as much as Enos.
No, that's fair. But how much would you be, wealth points worth would you be willing to put in the donation bin?
Probably like 2 crowns.
2 crowns. Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, they're both around the same level. You put a couple crowns in.
Very specifically, Konrad is going to do that while everyone's all like fixated around the priest and like say when he does it, so the soldiers can get their deserved rest.
Yes, there's probably a like I said, a doctor or
Yes.
attendant minding the box who takes note. Oh, one last thing I think I wanted to mention is that when the donation is passed by Inos, there is a little bit of an aside look between the Reverend Mother and the Chief of Medicine. Not like a nasty look, but kind of a maybe slightly smug, a little pointed look of just like, hey, look at this. See, people are interested in this.
The pretty one gave us money.
The pretty one likes us.
well, the pretty one is a servant of the goddess of the dead. So, yeah.
There's also a whole thing about where to put this, but I don't. Correct me if this is wrong, but there's also kind of like a sub bit about how Iron Demon's a thing about vengeance.
They are a people who respect vengeance. I don't know if they necessarily, we haven't actually talked about what their ideas of like justice and punishment as a culture are.
I would say they do not seek vengeance as
They become it.
No, but that's because no matter what, when you die, you will be taken into grips of Deataceta, and no matter where you have gone and wherein you have run, you will serve your sentence. You cannot escape death.
You will be paid your dues.
You will be paid your dues.
That said, I imagine that they are probably one of the kindred who do have probably one of the stronger things resembling a, maybe not a legal code, but like do actually have a system of like appropriate levels of judgments and punishments if you are caught, you know?
Oh, yes, no. We have nothing against people who might hasten someone to their said judgment. But
I imagine your people are very orderly about like, well, you stole, 40 rolls of bread for yourself. Those were for the community. We shall, hit you over the head with a cane or something.
Yeah.
A few times.
No, I would like to say that the Iron Demons, we still have crime and whatnot, but we have probably less crime. And when we do have crime, it is dealt with a very, I wouldn't say elaborate, but a very detailed, a very detailed system.
I'm just imagining, it's just, you will be flogged, and then when we arrive at our destination, you will be flogged again, and then enslaved and put on the plantations for the rest of your miserable life.
I almost,
Alright, Cuba.
I almost see that, like, particularly towards like non-Iron Demons. Like, if an Iron Demon wants to see you punished before you die, that means they care about you. Because that means they're trying to get rid of some of your sin before you go meet their goddess.
That could certainly be an interpretation. That is, for instance, why on the other way around, like penitent orders exist. The idea that you can give up all your worldly possessions and throw yourself into good works to maybe balance the scales before you get got.
Yeah. But anyway,
the old sin machine doesn't forget. Yeah, sadly, I did not find a lot of opportunities on your sightseeing tour for you guys to make more money. Unless Konrad really wants to hit up some gambling houses.
He's gonna hit up some places, but I just specifically, in my mind, the money that he has is still coming from the kingdom, effectively, and he hasn't been back there for a while, so he hasn't got his allowance.
Yeah,
I
didn't believe you talked about this.
Nicola
A lot of
probably
you have stipends, basically, or inheritance from the Marquess. So,
Nicola is also probably. I wouldn't say he's hurting yet, but he's probably being a little more frugal because the reason he has his wealth, while it's not directly tied to inheritance, is directly tied to me making money at home, which I can't do while we're abroad.
I think Inos is probably still flush because he brought most of his wealth in gems that he trades and sells along the way to supplement his income.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Well, and you're on paper anyway. Your role is you are a craftsperson, of the highest caliber. So that would be expected that you would be the ability to, as you say, buy and sell and make coin on the road.
Yeah.
A lot of the rest of you are dealing with.
I also do have haggle, so I can probably. I don't roll it all the time, but I could probably get decent deals on said things.
Nicola probably could as well, but the biggest problem is I need y'all to stop me needing to make you healing potions so I can actually make my trade goods.
No.
True.
Oh no, it's like you're the court physician or something.
Technically, Nicola would be yes, he would actually be paid a salaried position, but that's something that you're gonna have to
That's not
square
where my
up with
wealth
the
4
Marquess.
comes from.
But also, I don't, the Marquess's money is kind of, not necessarily liquid.
I've also not really been spending it that crazily.
True. But, that's, if some of you need to get paid, you had to go through him. Anyway, I asked this before, but I will re-ask. Any further, comments or questions you want to make at the hospital?
No, I think I'm good.
No, while it is an insanely cool idea, It's probably not something Nicola is unfamiliar with.
Oh no, yeah, we're at the phase where something resembling public hospitals are starting to form.
Almshouses.
So you want to go to the university or the library next?
University.
University, it is then.
Right?
You're the boss.
I think he did say he'd probably be spending the most time at the library, so that's why he wanted to go there last. So
Yeah,
No, that's fair.
sounds good to me.
All right, Highbower University is a decently sized campus, kind of on the edge of town. It has a sizable quadrangle courtyard, a quad. So it's got an open space in the middle. There is a decently sized separate dormitory and a cafeteria. They do resident students because it's pretty typical in this time period. Just like even in modern time, you got to go where the school is. The school don't come to you. There is a small chapel and church facilities, attached to the outbuildings, but this is primarily a purely educational institution, invested in by previous, lords and ladies of the Highbower Manor and so on. Just building up scholarship. Though it probably, like a lot of classic universities, probably started on top of like a monastery or a church building, just because monks were used to be the guys who had the free time to pile up knowledge, and then somebody went like, "Hello, I will give you fat stacks of cash. Open up your library. Start teaching the people." So yes.
Or in the case of China, it was, you're going to teach people or I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I don't think any higher education on Troika has gone that direction yet, but there's definitely a little bit of strong arming going on.
You will educate the peasantry or you will die.
I think I said it last week, but I'll mention it again. The Crown Prince actually mentions that before being promoted to his current position as Lord Cursor, he studied several subjects at the university. It is actually like big enough to be divided into departments. They're actually like sectors and individual schools that are under the university branding for different areas of scholarly research and education. There is a liberal arts section for the classical areas of education. That's arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, music, grammar, rhetoric, and logic. So basically core classes that you would think of today.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And you will be briefly introduced to the Professor Morvan Spector, who is the Dean of the Liberal Arts Department, and one of the Prince's tutors.
Okay. Inos will ask.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Inos will ask, what did the prince study while he was in university?
He's about to answer, but I think Professor Spector jumps in and says, "Oh, His Highness studied a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We tried to keep him in the liberal arts department, but his mind was too sharp. I believe the last area you were focused on was law, Your Highness?" The prince nods and says, "Yes, I studied a core at the School of Law, though I would not say I qualify as a barrister. But my preferred area of expertise was always the matter of grammar, rhetoric, and languages. I do not think myself quite so keen a linguist as yourself or the Marquess, Master Inos, but subjects of speaking, publicly and privately, have always been of interest to me." He kind of, looks around along with the professor and at you guys. And actually, I didn't list all the schools, I should say. You got a field of law.
Konrad's
you got
about to ask about that, so.
Languages, history, a school of literature, a very small, what is called School of Sciences. It's like we're at a state where like scholarly literature on sciences is not necessarily differentiated, so the Department of Sciences is kind of doing a little bit of everything. Like they've got what you would call natural philosophy for like plants, animals, minerals, maybe a little bit of like classical engineering, and also have like a decent amount of like more advanced stuff like, mechanics into early physics, that sort of thing. They also have a rapidly growing, since the hospital was opened several decades ago, Department of Medicine. So they actually operate as a medical college as well. But yeah.
Oh crap! Does that mean I'm their rivals?
I don't think the
Oh,
School
but
of
that
Medicine
level.
really builds a rival school type vibe. But you were educated at the Royal Society in Lampclair.
Yeah.
Formally, anyway. But yes, the Professor Spectre and the Crown Prince will kind of look around and as you guys are probably walking the quad, like looking at the different departments, kind of just say like, Professor Spectre, I should say, will say, and of course, my fine lords and ladies, would any of you like an opportunity to study? I understand, obviously, you're very busy with your positions, but well, not the most prestigious. We do have some very fine quality education.
I appreciate the offer, though. Time is very limited.
Of course, yes. I understand, your lordship. Well, it's time makes fools of us all, adjusts his reading spectacles. But if you do ever find yourself with a free season, I know that sounds like an oxymoron, we'd be delighted to have you.
Thank you.
And of course, perhaps, gestures around the young ladies, the young sir.
Can I roll some empathy?
I think that, yeah.
I'm pointing it at the things. Like, I'm curious why he's trying to
Recruit us?
yeah.
All right, go ahead and roll empathy.
Okay, 2 6s. I actually succeeded this time.
Yeah, no. Again, this guy's not lying, so he's not hiding his motives.
Funding.
Surprise, Enos. This guy's just doing it for the love of the game.
Oh.
He
Okay.
is a genuine scholarly type. He is the head of the Department of Liberal Arts. That means he teaches students all day. He
The
likes
alpha
teaching.
nerd.
Okay, he actually likes teaching. Okay.
Yeah, no, he likes teaching, and we're not really role playing out the conversation because we're kind of passing through these conversations with NPCs. But I think this guy can tell that most of your crew is arguably very scholarly. Like, your least is Konrad, and even then, Konrad has areas of stuff he's interested in.
And I probably would voice an interest in maybe the natural sciences.
Yes, and the Professor Spectre would say, yes, I'm not the dean of that department, but we have some very fine works there. I believe, I would assume, being from Teine, that you're probably interested in our studies into the natures of the earth sciences, identifying different rocks, minerals, deposits, that sort of thing.
Indeed, but I'm also I like plants and animals and stuff that sort as well.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, many fine catalogs of animals and plants stored in the university, yes. So yeah, no, even, like I said, he seemed impressed with that, but yes, no, he just likes teaching, and it seems like all of you guys are in your own way, marks. Even Inos, you're not really like a technical learner, but you are, first of all, you're a sorcerer, so like you are knee deep in some esoteric knowledge, and studies of simple stuff like weights and measures is valuable to your line of work. And he just talked about how they have in their science department, they have like a little bit of work on like engineering and physics, a little bit of work on like geology and metallurgy kind of a thing. They and this is a like classic Renaissance and on era university, so like a lot of what students do here is you learn under a professor, and then when you're done learning, you just start doing stuff. Like, so long as you have money to buy research materials and pay for your dorm room, you just kind of do science. So yeah, it's very classical, collegiate affair. the Professor Spectre probably gets in a couple of jabs and says, and of course, Lady Cheval, you're always welcome here. I recall you stood in on some of my lectures with the prince. Agave kind of just pats the tip of her saber and says, your office very polite, Professor, but Mother insisted at a couple of semesters at the Collegia Tactica. And he just kind of, good-naturedly grumbled, like, another brilliant mind lost.
To the art of war.
To the arts of war and government. Whatever will I do?
Nah, this guy is just for the love of it.
Yeah, no.
Nicola is awkwardly thinking about, like, I'm already a member of 2 colleges. I don't think I could do a third.
And then if he hears that, he'll go up to you like, no, the more colleges, the better.
Oh, God.
Yes, a fellow of the alchemical college. Yes, quite good, I'm sure, at your esoteric ways and your magical stuff. But have you ever studied this? Pulls out just hits you with a book of literature.
Oh!
Whoever said sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, has never been hit with a dictionary.
Oh, we have quite a lot of dictionaries here. But yes, no, he just kind of walks you through. And, I feel like this was, like I said, this would be a moment because I expected Leslok's response to being invited to study at university would be, I would love to, but I do not have time.
I mean, yeah, because I have to be responsible.
But whispering into your mind of more shit for you to do. What if you brought the university to you?
I was about to say.
I mean,
the College of Stonehearth.
I mean, there should be an educational what's the word for it?
Institution?
Apparatus?
Yeah, there always should be an educational institution in every country.
You guys probably have classical universities, but I do not think with the way we previously talked about Stonehearth's layout, you probably don't have a college like
not as
in the castle
formalized.
town. One of your major outposts for scholarly research is the Silver Tower, just because again they were a magical, esoteric and religious institution. That just means they probably piled a bunch of books in their basement, and eventually somebody went like, "Hey, we've got these grimoires and tomes of identifying plants and animals.
Maybe we should separate that a bit so the Silver Tower doesn't have to another time.
No, don't.
Classic. Posts you can hear. But yeah, so yeah, you guys probably just spend a quiet hour or so maybe walking the quad talking about some stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna put this on my list. Hold on.
The public library, then. The public library, as your last big stop, is dedicated to, at the time, a gentleman ranked as the Grand Duke Rodomonte, meaning he was a younger sibling to a high king or queen. Member of the royal family about 120 years ago, so been around a decent amount of time. It basically started as he created a repository for his private collection of books and just did what a lot of wealthy people with nothing better to do did and just opened the doors and said, anybody can read my books. I don't care.
Take care of them.
Yes, so the Duke's original collection was its base, but now it gets books donated by private individuals and publishing companies. So anybody can, add their collection or fund it. There are, patronage from merchants and nobles, but does receive a stipend from the crown. Again, this is another character who is not important, so they are not named, but there is a chief librarian of this public library who is technically a subordinate of the royal librarian. Technically, this library would be associated with the Office of the Royal Archives, but in case you can't tell from the times you've spoken to the current Duke Verity, the Royal Archives is not a very, highly structured or regimented department of the crown. Most of their work and organization is keeping track of the books, not keeping track of the people that work for them.
Shit's just all over the place, really.
Perhaps we shan't go to the Royal Library. It is a silly place.
It's true.
I like silly things.
But yeah, so technically the chief librarian of this library is a crown official, but he's got about as much authority as Jim Bob the fish seller. To most
Hey,
other.
you put respect on
crown
Jim
officials.
Bob's name.
Listen, it's an important job. People need to sell fish, but unless it comes to the field of selling fish, Jim Bob's not really an authority figure.
Well, what about selling shellfish?
At least it's not Billy.
The
Or
barber.
Billy
Tanner.
Billy
No,
runs into axes, so
Billy's an idiot.
Old
Poor
Billy
barber.
Axehead. So there's a lovely, decently sized brick edifice with some big library doors. The front, there's the big double door type entrance. It is flanked by marble statues of drakes.
Cool.
In place of library lions. Next to the library itself, there is a stationer's company. Who basically are there to provide commercial services for printing books, pamphlets, letters, and papers. So, this is actually something I found out researching like the oldest public libraries. So, we're not really at the stage where you check out books yet. What you do is you go to a library, you either read the book there, or if you wanted access to the knowledge to take with you, they fire up the printer next door and make you a copy of the book.
Really?
Cool.
Yes. For a small fee, obviously. So we're not at lending library phases, but if you've got a little coin to spend, they will basically copy any text they can in the library.
Then Omega, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific books in mind? Do you think Leslok would just want a copy immediately?
Wow.
No, I don't have
Then let's not worry about it.
yeah, I did not write down a extensive field of study of literature. Just they have a pretty good library here. Any citizen of good standing can visit the library, request to read a text.
Just speed reading, isn't there?
You guys go inside, and there are big shelves of books, in different organization. The Royal Library probably does have their equivalent of the Dewey Decimal or Library of Congress type system where they know where books are. Bookshelves are probably labeled,
Mm-hmm.
literature here, poetry there, natural history over there, kind of a thing. So, they've got common literature, novels, plays, books of music of various forms. Probably, light fiction, blending all of them. They also have a lot of scholarly works. Most of your scholarly knowledge is going to be preserved in not quite textbooks, but, academic books. So-and-so's, discovery of 40 years of melting different rocks to find out what they turn into.
Ooh, that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a fun one. That's very popular. There's also, big books of drawings of plants with labels. Don't eat, kills you. Do eat, tasty.
Tasty.
Cook before eating. That kind of
No
stuff.
point.
It's just grass.
It is grass.
That kind of stuff.
This is called the Reaper's Cap for a reason.
This
I want
mushroom
that.
kills you and everyone in your immediate family. Do not eat.
I have the line going.
It says a lot about me as a person that my first instinct when you said Reaper's Cap was, ooh, that's spicy.
No, there probably are, doodles of peppers. And like I said, there are going to be books that are just mathematical theorem stuff like that, stuff that'll probably go over your heads, but there's other various works. They do also have several historical manuscripts and codexes, yes, that's right. Lucky asked about this earlier in the week. Basically, the way history works right now for you guys is again, archaeology is not really a concept as a discipline yet. You are at the stage of what we call antiquarianism, where people would go, "Ooh, I dug pottery shards out in the ground. I wonder who made them." Well, these pottery
This
shards are
guy's
older than these
fucking
pottery shards.
copper. It's terrible.
stuff like that. Like, I can tell from the architecture that this hill fort was built 400 years ago, which is interesting because the pot shards in their basement are from 200 years ago. Therefore, it was still settled, like that kind of basic bit shit. But probably not even to like grid squares yet. And since you guys haven't invented dynamite, your antiquarians haven't learned to stop using dynamite.
Well, that means
Real
that
fact,
all our
by the
ruins
way.
are probably pretty well preserved then, and we should probably get on before we figure that shit out.
Oh yeah, Nicola, don't invent dynamite.
Well, he be your beard, so he can't respond to that.
I know. Invent something else.
Honestly, I think you guys are still a very decently far away from dynamite because that's nitrocellulose.
Oh, fair enough.
You guys would have to invent nitroglycerin and then go, this shit's unstable as fuck. How can we make it more stable? What if we soaked it in cotton or plant matter?
But that requires having to do research on nitroglycerin.
Which I'm not even
Yeah.
sure. But that was probably another one of those chemical accidents. Like I said, an awful lot of science, both my players and my people at home, was done by guys who had more money than they knew what to do with and no pressing desires on their time, and just put two different things in glass beakers and then put them together and saw what happened. Did they explode? No? Cool.
Did they explode? Also cool.
Yeah, after you pick up your glass shards off the ground, you go, neat, that exploded. Now to see if I could replicate that effect. Or, neat, that ate through the sole of my shoe. First I will get new shoes, then I will figure out how I did that. This is the kind of shit that, like, Nicola, for instance, even though Dallas is away, but he would be used to at the Alchemical College because that's basically how alchemy works, is you guys, they calculate formulas based on, like, weight, geometric shapes and stuff of things that are aligned with different elements and go, okay, if we put 2 parts wood and 1 part fire, what happens? We get big fire.
I love, I just was looking up nitroglycerin, and I love how it's talking about nitroglycerin becomes more and more prone to exploding, i.e. spontaneous decomposition.
Yeah, no, nitro.
I've
it's
never
a
heard
very
of it
unstable
put that
chemical.
way. Never heard of explosion that way. We put that way.
I
so.
mean, yes, I guess that is technically what happens chemically is the bonds in the nitroglycerin break and turn into something, they decompose by turning into something else that's no longer explosive. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's not how I would think of it. Also, once again, like I said, nitro, very unstable compound, very jittery.
Yeah, it
but
wasn't
yes.
discovered until 1846 also.
Wait, what are we doing with nitroglycerin? Sorry, I just came back to like.
We were discussing the concept of how far away you are from nitro because I made a joke while you were away that
Far.
the field of archaeology, you haven't discovered dynamite, so archaeologists haven't learned to stop using dynamite yet.
Yeah, honestly, if we don't discover dynamite, that would be fine, because what discovers dynamite also discovers a whole bunch of bad shit. Although it does kind of solve world hunger, so.
Explosives are really gnarly. Anyway, so yeah, like there are historical documents, like I said, and basically history is in a state where most of your like concept of history is going to be either some guy wrote down what was happening outside his door as it was happening, or maybe a few years later, or some other guy goes up the road, asks some people like, hey, you remember that time when that thing happened? And they'd be like, yep, and then wrote it down.
Or which is more likely, whatever prevailing empire at the time was like, no, we were really awesome during this specific time. You have to believe us because we wrote it down.
Well, as you know, history is written by the victors, so certainly there's a selection effect of narrations, but yes.
I don't even agree with that statement. I much prefer history is written by the survivors.
That's more actually true. I feel like the written by the victors part is just because that. But hey, guess what? If you win, you get to write about how cool you were and how shitty the other guy was, even if they're not necessarily wiped out. Where was I? Yes, I was going to say that. Obviously, you guys feel free to peruse the stacks. Feel free to order some copies of books if you want.
About how
Anything
long will it
interesting?
take to print out like books and whatnot?
They've got print to type talent. Not printed type. Printed type. Printing, or typeface printing. So They can do blocks of text pretty fast.
Okay.
Like, probably like a slim or medium-sized book can be done in a couple of hours. If you want to get like a big blocky book, you're probably gonna have to pick it up next morning before you leave.
Because I was planning on getting a bunch of books.
Well, I mean, question is, how many books is Leslok getting?
This is also a very important question.
Oh no,
Because we might just say, okay, copy all these books, send them to Stonehearth.
I mean, you can do that. They're again, this place is technically the library is technically associated with the Crown office, so that just means that they can like put your shit through the Crown's mail.
knowing him, it's probably like he's going to like.
Because if we're getting a crate full of books delivered or something like that, then that might be just be the best way.
Inos would like. Oh God, no. Actually, Inos might have no. I want to bring it with me. I don't want to, because it's part of a plan. Because Inos is probably gonna get like at least 30 books. They're not all gonna be big fat books, but he needs to get a couple books each for each of the 9 princes, and then some nice books for his family. So
Yeah, that probably would be instead of running through the print shop, probably be like, ask the printers, hey, do you know any bookshops that are selling these titles pre-printed?
Yeah, no. Enos would ask about like where he could buy said books rather than
You can probably tip them like a couple of copper or silver coins and get a line on what bookstores are selling things that are printed.
No.
Luckily, we are in a phase where, because we are at the printed word, if you open up a book in the library, you can find what company printed it and just ask where their shops are.
Yeah, Enos will do that.
That's fair. Sometimes I forget how advanced we are.
Honestly,
Things
I know what to bring
advance
earlier,
in
but
very different ways.
because now that Aren mentioned it, I should. I think Leslok is probably going to check most of the library, and then just because it's him,
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
he will just see to get copies of any of the books that are things he just hasn't. They pique his interest, but he hasn't actually seen before.
Oh, excuse me.
Or
I mean, honestly, that's
any
still gonna
like
be
vastly
a decent
updated
amount.
versions compared to the ones he's actually seen in his own library.
If you want to narrow that down to like looking for updated versions of text you already have, that can probably be reasonable. If it's just a book you've never seen before, honestly, there's probably a lot of those. I don't know if they're high quality, but
we've never seen before that actually like are interesting to him, but that's like subjective, so we'll just brush over it.
Yeah, but like I said, looking for updated texts of like things you've got in your library is definitely going to be decent enough to put into a back order, and you can probably find a couple of interesting areas.
All of them.
Definitely, I do want to say, because this was brought up before, that also, while you guys are in the library, at one of the reading desks with a small pile of books, there is the second prince, Menas Hatroy. To re-describe him, because it's been several months of real time since he's been on screen. Second prince is about the same height as his older brother. Similar build. He's a little thinner. He's a little more pale, but they both have kind of a healthy medium skin tone. Prince Menas got a lot of his coloring from his mother, it seems, because he has kind of that like dark gray, kind of storm cloud colored hair, and kind of again dark gray eyes. Unlike the crown prince, who kind of wears his hair kind of short cropped, decent. Menas kind of lets his hair come out long to hang about, probably to like shoulder blades length. All very straight, perfectly combed, on point. And he's probably wearing kind of a reasonable nobleman's ensemble, double-breasted jacket, high collar over, like shirt sleeves, wearing high quality but soft shoes, well-tailored breeches, kind of a thing. Handling the book, still wearing like the equivalent of riding gloves, that kind of thing. you know, Alias obviously, you know, starts the conversation true, and he's like, you know, brother, I was told you would be here. It's a little surprising to run onto you, but not an unwelcome one. You know, Menace stands, offers a you know, polite bow to his brother and his guest, and says, "Of course, dear brother. I was perusing some tomes that I would like copied for the collection we're building at the Palace of Moonlight."
Palace of Moonlight?
Yes, Palais Clairlune. That is the location that if you look at his Dramatis, Prince Menace is assigned as the prince of.
Ah, okay.
So that's his domain.
He's improving his library.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, kind of nods and says, "I am not surprised to find you here, as it is about time for your tour to come through. I hope everyone has been having a pleasant trip." Kind of looks around. He speaks in a polite tone, but he doesn't have like a, you know, he's not a big smiler.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of, you know, pleasant tone but neutral expression.
Just going through the formalities, really.
Sounds like everybody just mostly just kind of, you know, smiles and nods.
Smiles and nods back,
Pleasant.
yes.
Pleasant enough.
Mm-hmm.
Good. You know, Aylis kind of cycles back around and says, "Well, you're welcome to join us for a private dinner tonight." And, you know, Menace kind of just... Now he actually gets a little bit of a quirk of a smile and says, "Well, I should hope so. We're staying at the same place." Alias kind of lets a slight smile come back and says, "Well, I have known you to dine in your chambers on occasion, but I wouldn't want to tear you away from a good book." "No harm at all, brother. Though I will be imposing upon your hospitality on the morrow, if you don't mind. I believe you'll be traveling to Four Leaves by boat. I should like to accompany you on that trip, as it will bring me closer to returning to the Palais Clairlune much faster." Alias seems a little, again, kind of like surprised but not shocked, and just kind of like, "Ah, well, if that is your plans, then we shall speed you along to your destination."
I would like to make
course,
an
brother.
empathy check. I want to see if there's any tension between these brothers.
Okay, roll 'em.
Because everything they sounds very polite, but also it sounds too polite.
Sounds like you're making the empathy check already.
I wanted to know too because like he made good points. But I'm just like,
But yes, no, like, me out of character listening to Omega talks, like, these brothers are being polite to each other. They're being too polite. They're brothers.
No, you're right.
It's not like
I
us.
think even with a straight, like, Inos definitely gets the impression that their family relationship is not like what family relationships are like, either with his, you know, flesh and blood siblings or with your family among, you know, Team Logi.
With his sisters.
Like, also, honestly, I think without a role, Inos, you've probably been around the third princess enough to know that, like, her relationship with both of her brothers has a little bit of a different vibe from this.
Yeah, like
Picking up on specifics, though, is sadly...
yeah, no, I can't pick it up. There's something there, but I don't get it. But yeah, no. Princess Estelle is a little more free than this. They can joke and tease with each other, if only a little bit.
There's a sense of camaraderie among family.
Well, not necessarily camaraderie, but they know they can
They
get
call
away.
it-
They know they can say things and get away with it.
What I'm saying
In this
is
case,
I get big Code Geass vibes from this whole situation.
Yeah, it's like they're talking to someone that's basically your brother, but also your coworker directly.
Yeah, no, it's
Very
it's too professional.
So, and unfortunately, Konrad failed. So he's just like, why don't they act like me and Leslok do?
No, but
So, it's, you know, it seems like most of you roll, and I'm going to say, most of you are in, and yes, this includes those of you who made matches. Most of you are in kind of the same boat that Inos is in. There's something here, but you, even with your empathy skills, you guys are not able to pierce the veneer of courtly politeness to understand the subtext of the two princes'
Oh
relationship.
god, we needed more than a 6 to get that.
Yeah, no, I can tell you, because you would have heard me rolling dice in real life. No, I rolled somebody's lie pool to resist empathy, and they rolled better than any of you. So
That's fair.
here we are.
I
Your
rolled kind of
successes are public.
garbage. I rolled kind of
are-
garbage.
The princes are impenetrable to you in this moment.
I keep rolling my empathy. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm glad my social sense is still tangled.
Yes, no.
I've noticed the thing of it because I don't have a lie
Marquess'
pool.
real
Maybe
life
I
social
just
sense is tingled.
maybe I just shouldn't know. Maybe some state secrets I just shouldn't know.
Yes, no, that's very true. Out of character. There are certain things you don't need to know.
Also, Axe, there are reasons why, Konrad has stealth and lie and scrutinize and all those skills so you don't need to have them.
That's fair. I have like the
Yeah,
highest
you have a
ranking
cutout.
graces because I'm here to be the center point.
Also, I should
yeah.
bring up. I don't think lie is affected by beauty.
I think it's specifically like fascinating graces, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, beauty is
But
fascinating
to
graces.
remind everybody, Crown Prince Alias is beauty 1. Prince the second prince is as pretty as Inos.
Oh.
Oh, right.
Oh, holy
Forgot
shit!
about
Like I
that.
said, he has, like I said, that long, luxuriously straight, kind of dark
Sure
gray
that-
hair.
Oh my god, he is a Dark Moon Gwendolyn. Fucking hell.
Has
Wow,
perfectly
I just
on
realized
fleek
there are a
eyebrows
lot of
kind
very
a thing.
pretty men in this library right now.
Oh yeah, no. There's probably like several young lady hiding in the stacks, fanning themselves. The tension in this room.
Between
Uh,
Oh,
And
what
they
are you
were there
talking
already
about?
because
There,
of the
there are
prince.
fucking fics being written right now as we speak.
let's see,
Oh, God,
3
the
beauty
first
3,
fanfic
2 beauty 3 is 1 beauty 2, 1 beauty 1, all in the same room.
Maybe I should
Oh
get
my
Beauty
god, we're
one.
in a fucking Otome game.
yeah, basically right now.
Who's the
But
heroine?
yes, no.
That is a good
Konrad, we need
question.
to run. We need to run away,
Who's the
Konrad.
heroine of this? game?
Leslok, Leslok. There's only one person who's the main character. I
Saying
just
it's
want
you.
to point
I'm not
that
having
out.
this conversation. Okay, I'm not having this conversation.
That's the
Some
correct
people on the-
answer.
Some people on the internet would fight us about if it's male pairings, if it's technically an Otome game. People can
I
get
don't
very
care.
persnickety about genre.
It's true.
Anime is cartoons. Ruby's in anime. Fucking bite me.
Dallas said it, not me. But feel free to leave your angry comments below. But yeah, so yeah,
The Simpsons
they
is
they
an
have, like I
anime.
said, that very pointed, polite conversation. Alias will ask probably a little less, like you noticed, less polite and a little less formal about like, have you found any interesting books? Yeah, several of you succeed in your empathy roll. The second prince comes back with like, oh, a few, but nothing to concern yourself with. Mostly matters of history and architecture. Unless you're planning on remodeling the Palace of the Dawn anytime soon. Alias kind of, straightens his collar a little and says, no, that was not on my plans for this year.
Again, I feel there's subtext here.
Yeah, it's like it's just beyond me.
Like I said, I feel like the when you guys hit this mood of the squad really shifted. Any of you want to try and insert anything into this conversation?
Ah, fuck. I need to
Enos
pick up
is
something.
Enos that kind of? Yes, he is. So Enos will pop in. It's all like, those are interesting subjects. Are you collecting just all sorts of knowledge, or the specific purpose for them?
Prince Menace kind of, folds his arm not in like a standoffish way, but kind of like, relaxing, bringing his arms in comfortably, and kind of, gives you an aside glance and kind of nods and says, well, I am interested in many areas of scholarship. My current interests are indeed in mostly the fields of history and folklore. There's quite a lot of knowledge in Troikoren which has never been written down because it's recorded by old wise women in the woods, wandering monks, that sort of thing. There are many things going on in our world that we don't understand. And the key to understanding the future, I think, anyway, a side glance at his brother, is to study the past. We must learn from our mistakes, after all. And I'm sure we've all made a few of them. You know, again, kind of a... You're noticing that when Prince Menas smiles, he does not do like a big toothy grin. He is definitely a little half smile, quirk up kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested in fields of antiquity as well. And actually, this is a out of character question, but you know, you're entitled to carry swords everywhere. Leslok, are you carrying Flambert right now?
Honestly, I am because I don't want to leave it down in anywhere.
That's fair. You know, the prince kind of like raises a polite hand and gestures to Inos. If you don't mind me changing the subject, Master Inos. Turns to Leslok and says, "You are carrying a very fascinating antique. If I'm not mistaken, that is the depiction of Logi Torchbearer's own weapon, the Flambert." You know, he kind of turns back to, because Inos asked him about his, you know, what fields of study, and says, with the big, like, you know, puts his hand up to you know, block Leslok out of the conversation, like a little theatrical. You understand this kind of thing. Sadly, the subject of swords and of historical swords and weapons is one of the fields I have studied.
I'm
Wait a minute.
having a moment where it's like I don't know if Leslok should just actually say it's the actual article or not. I'm not sure if he should.
Yes, he's implying, because he says it matches the description. So you're like,
Also, I will remind you that you did use it to swear your oath to the king on,
yes,
didn't you?
yeah, you,
Which
you
would signify
specifically
it's the real thing.
But also, this is a point where I bring up, I don't think any of you announced to anybody that you guys went into Logi's tomb and brought back his magic sword.
True.
Besides
And I
your,
don't
like,
know.
inner-
You didn't tell
I'm
anyone
like,
about that.
like
I'm
genuinely,
really-
I do
I'm
not
on
know
the
if,
fence if I should.
yeah, like Leslok right now is grappling with, should he say it's the real thing?
It's like,
Oh, you guys, like, give me an idea here.
well, actually, Enos will will take them, and it's like, yes, it does. Have you heard many legends about such a weapon?
And you distract him,
Yes.
and you know, Menace kind of nods and taps his foot and says, "Ah, yes, all of the treasures of the founders of the houses are well described in history. Logi Torchbearer's sword was said to be flame-patterned steel, and by drawing it, he would cause it to burst into flames."
Interesting. How? Is there any explanation on how he was able to do such a thing?
This actually, like, I don't know if you heard me inhale a little there, but yeah, like, that actually, he does, like, a little inhale and actually gets more interested. He's like, actually, no. Most people assume it was some quirk of soulcraft that only the Torchbearer, who brought much of the study of the field to men, understood, but forgive me if it is impolite, but I have not read many accounts of your own people displaying such flaming weapons either.
No, that's why I find it interesting. We are quite able to employ many objects with many things, but making a sword burst into flame is quite unique. If I buy accounts of this man, it's like that Logi Torchbearer had something singularly unique, and I would be fascinated to know more about it. Do you have any idea of any more, like, any text or recommendations on such a thing? I do like to believe it is probably some form of soulcraft, but even my own people history isn't perfect, and who knows what records may be elsewhere.
He kind of, pauses, takes a breath, maybe wraps, one of his hands lightly across the table, drumming his fingers, and says, Well, if you wish historical depictions of famous swords, there is a treatise by House of Spada from 150 years ago, documenting all of the major styles of swords up to that point, famous forges, different types of hilts, dimensions. That is not so technical in the matters of magicked blades, but does have collections of literature and the like. If you're seeking knowledge of relics, I suspect, a side glance at Kefis, I suspect that either the...
What?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I think Logesh
Sorry.
was just dying slightly.
No, that
Sorry,
wasn't me.
I covered my cough, but I
Oh,
currently
that
still
was
picked
Aren.
it
I
up.
thought that was.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, Aren, sorry, I was about to say, I think Aren just sneezed off mic. Okay, yes, sorry. It did come through a little, that's why I was confused.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought I turned away and covered my mouth enough.
That's all
okay,
it was,
the
just in
best of us.
pain.
Yes, the second prince kind of, gets an aside glance to Kefis and says, I suspect if it's relics, which all of the great heroes who founded the houses are considered of great historical and spiritual significance, that the esteemed libraries either under Astrakhan Hill or in the Astrologue Observatoire in Tredesim will be the best place. Kefis, just kind of like gives a polite nod, almost does a gesture like a duelist, acknowledging a point to the other guy. Just like, yeah, you're right. I have heard though, and the prince turns his focus to take in probably both Nicola and his sister at the same time, because I imagine that she probably doesn't stray more than a couple paces from you, if only so that if Nicola starts Nicolaing it up, she can kick you in the shin. Or do something else to like grab your attention. I don't want to like imply that your younger sister is abusive to Nicola, but I just feel like she keeps him within arm's range so she can ratchet him in.
On a leash, within a leash
No,
range.
no, he needs it.
Yes. No. Well, no, I know. That's why she's like that. But kind of,
We
takes
haven't
you both
invented
into the
ADHD
place.
medication yet.
Kind of says, I do believe that the Order of the Silver Tower has some of the finest collections of enchanted artifacts and literature about them. Sadly, I have never had the opportunity to travel there and study myself. I shall have to make some time. Kind of a side glance at Alias. Perhaps during summer court, Alias kind of like rolls a shoulder in something vaguely resembling a shrug and, says, well, that'll be on your authority with father, but I doubt that our hosts will be too imposing. Side
No,
glance at Leslok.
my father would be more than delighted to receive anyone of your patronage.
Of course.
Yes, indeed. Would Emilius's be Your Highness? Would it be Your Highness?
Yes.
So I thank
Menace
you.
would be your highness.
Yes. Thank you, Your Highness. Your recommendations are most enlightening. I'll be sure to follow up on them when able.
Of course. Always good to find a fellow student of culture and history.
Culture and history is what makes us who we are.
Of course.
All right, but Inos will make a look outside and be like, oh, look at the time, it's been getting on. And turn to Alice. Your Highness, I don't mean to impose, but when we head back to the manor before dinner, I have a few things I'd like to take care of, and I'm afraid I may get lost in this city.
Alias kind of nods at you. He inclines his head towards Menace, and Menace just kind of gives a slight like nod of his chin as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of minding his own business, so he doesn't feel the need to keep you in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, yes, I do believe it is about time to get on. We should make sure to change for dinner since we've been walking and riding all day.
Indeed.
give you an opportunity to go out into the town.
Inos is trying to escape this conversation.
Let's leave.
Yes. You guys.
Let's get to weekend.
Hey, this gives me incentive for
No.
I have a list that's partially formed of like writing down all the in a Fire Emblem when you're in the last couple maps and they give you like really cool unique weapons that only one guy can wield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a working list of like the relic weapons of the different houses that I need to finish. This is probably as good a time as I need to get into that.
Dibs
that
on
list.
Gunungagap.
You mean
Honestly,
Gungnir?
No, I mean Gunungagap. It's a tome.
Oh.
Hotfire probably has a lance.
Dibs on the Ultima Sword.
I
I'll
don't know.
take the ultimate keyblade.
I don't know if there's an ultimate sword. No, I guess if there was the chain sword, that probably thing. But I don't think there's an ultimate chain sword. That seems too much.
I
Hold
think
on.
having
Let me pull
one
some,
sword of
let me
chains
pull
is
something
probably
up.
legendary
Hold
enough.
on. Let me actually pull something up. Hold on.
Anyway,
So
it's
speaking of
fine.
Fire Emblem,
There's a lot of weird stuff. I mean, Lucky's played Three Houses.
it's not from Three Houses.
Yeah,
It's-
that was a chain sword, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
no, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the
Oh,
spine,
that's
the weird spine sword.
Oh Jesus.
It's
The
a
Omega
literal chain
Yonto
blade.
is a literal chain
Let's
sword.
see.
Ah,
Oh
yes.
yeah, right. Because
I can tell who's
right,
wielding
the spine
that.
sword. Yeah,
Mm,
but yeah, it's like
Dragon Twink.
right. Because I always forgot that because like before Three Houses, there wasn't really the thing where everyone had like a signature weapon kind of thing.
Yes, there was.
Well,
Or-
Lords
it was way
usually had
less.
signature weapons, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
not like Three Houses made the crests and
Well,
the actual
Three Houses is playing off in that aspect. Not to get too nerdy, but I'm the Fire Emblem guy. Three Houses is playing off Fire Emblem 3, 8. Sorry, not 3 and 8.
I'll be right back.
Some
Okay.
genealogy stuff.
Genealogy, Sacred Stones, and Blazing Blade all have like
Yeah,
10
true.
or so secret
a
weapons.
lot of main, all the actual core characters had signature weapons.
Did you let him finish instead of interrupting?
No, I finished. It was technically they weren't bound to characters. They were just the S rank weapons of. They were the most powerful weapons of. That wielded by ancient legendary heroes. It's just the difference in Three Houses. Were we recording?
Yeah, we're still on.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Aaron had to throw
Spoilers
away.
for Three Houses. The weapons in Three Houses are wielded by legendary villains, not heroes.
Yeah, they're made
Gotcha.
of bones. They're not.
Well, okay, so 4 of them are technically wielded by people who are still alive, and a turtle.
Turtle.
Actually, while Aaron is away, though, I think I will. We've been going for a couple hours. Let's take an intermission.
Okay, no,
Yeah, it's a bit too.
okay, we go.
All right, we are back in. All right, so you guys extract yourself from the conversation. You do either buy or back order the copies of books you'd like,
Mm.
and can head on back to the. Sorry, that's why I was confused. That's my. I've put tabs in my GM document, so now my history tab is the same document as my campaign notes tab. So I was like, I'm lost. Wait, there I am. All right, okay. You go back to the manor. Like I said, you can back order the books you want. I will say, optional, but maybe suited to some of your you guys' current thinking. But you still have a decent amount of afternoon time left. Obviously you want to change for dinner. I know that Inos probably wants to go back into town and find some books at bookshops.
Book.
But it would probably be floated by someone in the party that you've got a decent amount of young gentlemen in this crew. There's a few guys at staffers at the manor, young gentlemen, or just could go to the local campus to run up. You could play a form of the football.
The footy.
The common style of what is called camp ball, because it has its origins in like military camps. You got a ball made of softwood wrapped in boiled leather, pretty typical stuff. Your rules are that you can kick. The phrase I found when looking up historical variations of football is when using it versus your hands is punch. So like you can hit the ball with your hands, or throw it through opposing goalposts, which are usually positioned about 70 to 75 yards apart. There's some big lawns you can use for this. Your team size is, like regulation size can be as many as 15, but you can make that about 10 aside. And obviously, if you're playing, purely for sport, you can reduce those numbers as well. Do like 5-on-5 type shit. A third party basically, throws it up in the air. You catch the ball and you move it to the other goal by carrying, throwing it, or kicking it between players. If you lose the ball or are tackled, the way the old school rules work is if you are completely grounded out, you lose a notch, aka a point.
Oh, okay.
So you are incentivized to like keep passing it rather than be tackled and like taken to the ground. Because even if the other team gets control of the ball, that means you can steal it back. And then when you throw it through the goal, you gain a notch, a point. Whenever you gain or lose a notch, the ball is reset, so play stops. And traditionally, you play to 7 or 9 points. So if you are playing this, normally you do no pads, no sports pads are invented. You play this in just breeches and undershirts. No coats, no gloves, no hats, no boots. You do it barefoot.
Oh, interesting.
Ow.
Very rugby-esque. Again, actually doing research on like people's historical accounts of the medieval to Renaissance era, like precursors to football. Technically, under the rules, a little bit of boxing is allowed. Striking is allowed.
Wow.
But because you'd have the Crown Prince involved in me playing a friendly game, striking would be discouraged. But strictly speaking, yes, you guys understand if you're playing football formally, you're allowed to hit people.
I don't know if I want to do this because I feel like someone might want an excuse to hit the Marquess in the face and get away with it.
That is your self-persecution complex speaking. We would not want to do that.
Presumably you'd be on a
I
squad.
wasn't assuming you guys.
Squads.
Yes, and if they did that, guess what they would get at them?
Yeah.
You've got an enforcer on your team.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy you're on standby if any of us get hurt.
I'm here to clean up the mess.
Now, you can kick the ball. You can kick the ball real good.
Enos would be interesting when playing, but he does need to actually go get those books. So he's going to head out and do shopping, and if you guys are still playing when he gets back, he'll probably join in.
You can pick up some books and make it for a game. I don't have like a formal check of scoring. Like I said, we'd get some extras. I kind of assume that you guys would probably...
Is there an equivalent of the pitcher position? I'd be great at that.
I mean, actually, you can be the neutral party who just stands at the sidelines and throws the ball up to be caught. You can do that with one arm.
Yes, I will do that.
It does mean
Why
you are standing
tackle?
nearby.
It's not illegal in this one.
Yes. If you guys want to participate, just go ahead and roll me your pool of body plus athletics.
Oh, fuck, I can't.
Also, by the way, I should say, I think technically this is pre-goaltender as well. Like, you can have a guy watch the goal. You don't have a player for it.
God, I feel like the risk would be so much better at this than me.
I mean, not Inos. He rolled a 1 and a 9.
I have the same pool. It's like, and I don't think I can squeeze that up another die, so.
No, don't think so.
Because I don't
Tens.
think many of my parents cared about, like, fucking camp ball.
I mean, is the Crown Prince playing with us?
Played, but yes.
Yeah, no, definitely. Even if I'm gonna suck at it, I'm not gonna turn down the Prince to let him, have some fun with some boys his age.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let me actually check how it does. Traditionally, I think just because there's we've talked about this as far as we've discussed it, Troy Corone doesn't really have like a built-in sense of like patriarchy. It's all like absolute primogeniture. But I think for the sake of politeness, normally because there's grappling and punching, you don't mix gender camp ball.
No.
So I unless you guys would be like seriously down a team, I don't think Agave Cheval would pitch in. She'd probably watch from the sides. But there's like what? Well, technically 4 of you because Nicola won't participate. But there's 4 of you. There's the prince. Seeing if Inos and Leslok will do it, Kefis Verity will jump in. He probably makes some comment about always being picked last for camp ball.
I think it's the first time I've played camp ball.
No, we've probably played
Probably
camp ball.
not probably as a kid, not like with the for real rules, but you've probably played some form of football.
It's been a long time, I think.
It's been one of those things of like we probably played it as a kid. We were young and innocent, and our dad wasn't dead.
Good times.
Yeah.
The easy times. Actually, it's not the good times. The easy times.
But like with. Yeah, no, but yeah.
The prince has 3 body. He does not have formal athletics. He has like run and a couple other body skills.
Well, we can suck at camp ball together.
Yes.
You and that your side probably does. You probably do get bobbed out. I may even think that you guys may end up losing on points. That said, you do get some great plays because I think even with low rolls, Logesh is holding down the center.
Yeah.
He actually knows what to do to like
Konrad's
tackle and throw.
Konrad's a fucking god.
Yeah, Konrad's a beast at this. You absolutely like pull off some very impressive tackles.
He was over on that side of the field a second ago.
You probably break a couple of tackles, which is probably pretty scary. Like these, you're facing off against young guys, but a big burly gentlemen who are like squires or young knights in the Queen's Guard, men at arms at the manor.
This is easy.
Dragging Kefos and Leslok behind me.
Ugh.
Actually, let me check what Kefis's athletics pool is.
I think it's probably better than. He also has gravity, so he's got like good speed.
Yeah, he's a fast runner. I'm pretty sure he's only body 2, but he may actually have body skills. Oh no, actually he has body 3.
Oh.
He's practiced a bit.
He's actually he actually got
1.
some muscle under that skinniness.
Oh,
he scores some points.
Yeah, no, he actually probably scores some runs. As Axe brought up, and I reminded you guys last week, he has the rabbity advantage, so he runs 20 feet in a round for free. He
probably scores a few points before Konrad
Yeah.
learns to like stay one step ahead of him.
Yeah, he is a fast little guy. And he has a good run pool. But yeah, no, I think you learned that, like I said, Kefis Verity is surprisingly fit. When he, ditches the overcoat and goes to like, shirt sleeves and breeches, he's got a little muscle tone. He can try. Probably at one point though gets laid out by Konrad and says, yes, haven't quite worked out the defense to an arm sweep. Can't really wiggle your way out of that one.
Doc,
I'll keep that in mind.
I'll help him up.
Yeah. So yeah, no, you guys get in the field, you play, you probably get a decent amount of grass stains on your knees and elbows.
There's a duck.
You all chase the duck around for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Listen, unfortunately,
like
there are
kids.
a bunch of guys who have gathered, and as everyone knows, the more guys that gather together, the lower their collective intelligence gets. It's why you always see a bunch of guys digging a hole on the beach.
I was about to mention the hole!
Honestly, if you guys are playing full like 10v10 type rules, if you actually get enough bodies for that, we should make sure you don't have any shovels.
The problem is, it's like if Leslok thought there was like actually no,
It would start with one of us finding a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
No, like, as someone who's like, I have been part of that group. I have seen a bunch of dudes digging a hole, and I have just felt the natural compulsion to go there and help them dig that hole. I don't know what it is, but it is there.
For me, I feel like, here's the thing. I can understand that for me, I have the exact opposite compulsion of like if I see people digging a hole somewhere, unless it's like the beach or somewhere where you should.
Well, no, I'm talking about
like,
it's on the beach. It's always on the beach. I'm not.
No, if I see it anywhere else, I'm like, I don't want to be. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Honestly,
But no, you see a bunch
like
of
the
dudes
joke
digging
here
on
to
the
make
beach, you're just
is like it's the thing of it's not that children crave for the mines, but men crave to excavate treasure.
It's true.
Men crave the treasure.
But like honestly, I think it's just people always forget this, but like
Well,
humans
you know
are
what they
really
say.
social community creatures. So you just see somebody doing work, and you're just like, "Hey, what are you doing, man?"
Well, no,
Let me help you
Omega.
out."
You know what? Everyone has a hole all their own.
We're not getting fucking ginger doing here, man. And fuck this.
But yes, no. So you guys, like I said, you get rough and tumble, you get your grass stains, you score some goals. You know, Konrad gets to let out some of his, I'm sure, pent up physicality from just riding all day and walking, and you have fun.
He had a better time at the other places than he thought he would. So,
Yeah.
and also I will say, however improper, Konrad gives the Crown Prince a very sportsly like hug at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He'll take it. Yes, he's a little, he's probably a little
Adrenaline
surprised, but
hug.
he's he like I said, he gets in the mood even though he's not very good at this. Probably like a couple of like I said, because you won't do mixed gender teams. Probably a couple of ladies, even if they are of military persuasion, will watch from the sides, and he think he's gotta get in there. He's gotta show up.
I mean, again, we're gonna have a bunch of high beauty players running around, bare skinned. I'm pretty sure more than a few ladies have maybe stopped by, probably some men.
Gotta build a little bit of a.
I need to go. I'm
privacy fence.
gonna go fucking look up again how much Beauty 1 and Gravity cost.
I mean, they're just
Hold on, I have to pause for a second to fire
base
an ad.
costs. So,
Is it really that?
Well, Beauty 1 is
I mean, it's
one,
not
I
important.
believe.
He's just thinking about it.
Also,
yeah, Beauty 2 is 3, and then Beauty 3 is 5.
yeah.
Right.
I think Rabbit might only be one or
reset
two.
so
All right.
log in.
Logging in, yeah. Make sure I do that. Put my game up.
Yes, I was just double checking some of the NPC blocks and like, yeah, no, like I think, like probably don't want Hiran to get directly involved because he's still like 5 years younger than some of these guys. Even if you're playing a friendly game, that's a little rough and tumble.
Yeah,
But
that doesn't.
We got people got massive muscle on that boy.
Yeah.
But
If you've ever seen the fucking oh god, I don't know what that football game is called, but when like a college it's when a college team plays like the top high school team.
Oh Jesus, why?
It's really bad.
Yes, fun is had all around.
So you had this adults fighting toddlers.
yeah, so Inos is gonna during his book shopping is gonna buy basically a couple books on each of the prince's respective field to deliver to them, and then probably maybe half a dozen to a dozen of fiction books of saucy romances and exciting travelogues to give to his family.
Nicola will be purchasing some books as well.
When he talks about print books at Prince, he does also include the Prince of Greed in that, so he's getting double books for his father.
Of course.
I mean, what would Nicola like? Hold on.
Konrad's getting definitely some books from specific to Troy Crone about the mineralogy and animal life and plant life.
I'm spinning this wheel to see what
And then
genre
possibly
of
also
fiction.
any books he finds about the fighting styles. Various fighting styles
Oh yes,
native to the
definitely
continent.
find
go-
some fencing manuals.
Oh, sorry. Aren, out of here, weren't you considering about going fighting some of the fencing schools here?
That's after dinner.
That's after dinner. Okay.
We want to go after dark. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Well, I mean,
Nicola's
dark
gonna.
in spring, but
I rolled a wheel for this.
Actually-
Nicola's gonna buy a bunch
with
of
with the
fiction.
with the ball game, probably actually before the boat trip.
In the morning.
Yeah, in the morning.
Kick their ass and leave.
Pretty much.
But
Well, we
yeah.
don't know when the boat's gonna be ready.
They said mid-morning, I believe.
So yeah,
It wouldn't be
Nick
it
was
wouldn't be
gonna-
earlier than mid morning.
True enough.
So who knows?
But yes, you guys can gear back up and settle in for
long
dinner.
haul.
Like I said, it's private. It's just going to be the primary party of your tour group with probably Menace, obviously, and then probably just Miss Page and her daughter in attendance. And also, I think I gave him a name, but her husband as well. He's like I said, he's retired military. He used to be a member of the Queen's Guard and probably has like some persistent, chronic injury, but not life-threatening, like probably like shattered his knee, falling off a horse, or like, getting, hit by a thrown rock or something, I don't actually think you guys have to deal with threats firing rogue musket balls at your royals right now.
Yeah.
But if you did, definitely like musket ball shattered the kneecap kind of shit. So like, obviously he can't serve as a line guard anymore. But being injured in the line of duty, he's locked up with his pension and stuff. Very very polite, very professional as you all. But a little stiff upper lip and all that. What?
Oh.
But yes, dinner. Again, still expensive, still high quality. A little less focused on the presentation. Nobody's really locking. So your appetizers will be whelk in butter sauce. This is actually a type of sea snail.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I was like, well.
It's
Yeah.
yes, it does.
Yeah,
It's a mollusk.
Yeah, I remember the name. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Yes, it's a
It's a
and
mollusk.
actually this is sometimes is also a form of street food. Which is kind of crazy to me, but I guess it does come with its own container. If it's a shelled sea snail, you just cook them up in the sauce, and somebody's like, "Yo, hit me with that whelk," and you're just like, "Here you go." Slurp them up.
Slip them up, brother.
Well, you asked for it.
They're way healthier for you than snails.
Oh, okay.
Although, of course, like I said, this is with a butter sauce, so
Calories.
Your main course is going to be a platter of grilled and cooked fish of a couple different species, both imported sea fish and river fish. Probably get your equivalents of some salmon, maybe some bass.
Bears.
Grilled and cooked with various herbs and spices. Served with a side of fresh grapes.
Grapes.
Sides
Grapes.
of cheese, bread, a little bit of ale and wines to drink. Dessert will probably be simply pound cakes. You just put the cake in the tin, you cook it up, kind of stuff.
Yum.
But spiced with cinnamon and walnuts.
Delicious.
Some
It's
flavor.
on,
Listen, pound cake by itself is pretty good. So cinnamon and
Yeah.
on it. Let's go.
Put a little extra
can you get
spice in
some
there.
beignets?
And like I said, your sides will be fresh cheese, fresh bread.
So I apparently didn't look into FGO yesterday. That's weird.
Oh no.
Oh, I forgot as well. Oops.
I thought I did.
Oh well.
It happens, I guess. But this is why I'm adding the whole server.
Yeah, I'm so bad about it.
I mean, I still got a thing for it. I think I just missed out on third days.
Maybe we can figure that out later. But yes, there is some more conversation with the second prince here. Just generally probably talking about hobbies and plans.
Oh wait, no, never mind.
He does, what's up?
Sorry. No, nah. I did miss it. I'm just thinking of a different login campaign.
Yeah, there's a couple different things going on. Anyway, Menas does, make sure to, as an aside, to because he didn't do this earlier, to Kefis say that he'd love to have him come and look over the library, but as discussed previously, Kefis is already planning on hopping the ride back to Trone on the boat with you.
Yeah, we swiped him.
So he has to, politely decline, but, Metis will say that the offer is open all the time. Yes, I did.
No, this is our boy, or young man detective.
Young man, there's no need to feel down.
Tonto Shonen.
I don't even need to retype it in this channel because you can spell it now because Loth spelled it. Welk. Yeah, I read that in an article on like the history of what the fuck is common whelk, and it's like a sea snail. I'm like, oh well, hey,
Yeah.
people will truly eat anything.
I didn't know it was street food. I've had it before though. It's better than snail.
Specifically, it's like historically in like this period of history in like London and urban England.
Yeah, I had it at like a Thai restaurant, I think.
Yeah, they're a very like common genus of sea snail, so they're eaten lots of places. But yeah, apparently this is a thing of like actual historical like.
It tastes way better than
London food.
Actual snail. I'll say that.
I mean, if you're eating like escargot, that has to be like prepared in a specific way because guess what? Garden snails don't really have a lot going on to their body structure.
Also, they're full of parasites.
That too.
Possibly brain-eating parasites. Yay!
But like, there's not a lot of mass to snails and slugs. You gotta like prep them and raise them in the right way. But yes, this, by the way, was I'd already written this by last session, but this is the point where I wrote down a note that like Kefis is aiming to hitch a ride back with you guys. So it just funnily happened that you brought it to him to conversation, and I was able to go, well,
Yeah.
I'm planning on bringing it up now, but
Since you mentioned it.
Yeah, something I prepared earlier.
But what a twist.
conversation is out there for this. All right. Then I think it's time for you guys to restify.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I got nothing to do really. Oh, I did want to check. Could I find that Espada treaty on sword designs from 150 years ago in a used store?
Yes, you can probably find this because this is a very common manual of swords.
Okay. Like I said, if we can, like, I don't know if it'll be helpful, but if we can maybe identify, like, what kind of sword, like, or who made it, we might be able to figure out, track down, like, maybe some other things about the relic.
Can y'all not hear me?
Yes.
What's up,
I will.
Okay, sorry, just making sure my mic was working. I might have to leave a little early today.
Okay.
That's okay. I can get you guys down
9
the road.
o'clock-ish.
No, yeah, that's the time.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know early.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
We can probably get you through what Conrad's got and probably get you on the riverboat at least. You guys don't have formal plans in 4 leaves because that's when you're gonna like leave, but it's gonna be a big city, so I'll let you guys spread your wings a little.
No, it's fine. I think I have a conversation for Nicola, but I think the time for it is probably past all the way over time.
Need to make.
I mean, you guys, it's evening now. You can have a private if you wouldn't have it over dinner specifically.
Nighttime is the right time.
Okay. Oh yeah, is there actually?
Let's double check.
Yes.
Me.
Yeah, oh no, I don't. I have one. I had one shock. Okay,
That
never
should
mind.
be healed by now.
Let
Mine's
me
still
make
in the
some
body.
healing checks.
If you can, if that doesn't take you over 10, roll an extra die. Because you have access to a hospital.
How does that count with master die though, or expert die rather?
Oh, I think actually that means you get to roll 10 dice and set your extra.
Oh.
The way I've done
The
it
way
before.
the 10 die cap works is you cannot physically
By the way,
Uh,
my expert dice call is 6 for both of them, so no luck on Loth. Although I did get a heal, I did get a 3.
yeah, you got a fuck ton of
Nope.
sets. But yeah, I believe the way it works is can't physically roll more than 10 dice ever. But if you have bonus dice, special dice, they are counted.
3 6s for so good healing checks.
Yeah, so
Both
both
of
of you should be able to attempt your body plus vigor rolls to after a night's rest to remove your convert your killing to shock.
Perfect.
But yes, Leslok, please take it away with your conversation with Nicola.
Sorry to think about it.
I'll list out the few things I have. First thing is probably by dinner. There is going to be looks like it's probably going to explain, at least to everyone else, that on our way back we are going to try to we are going to take a stop in Trone for multiple days.
Inos just nods at that.
Yes, I'm nodding in real life too.
Yeah, it's like
For
I didn't mean to
multiple days?
overhear, but I did hear that.
are
Inos
we
will pop up. It's like, yes, unfortunately.
doing there. I'm sorry.
Sorry, cuz it's kind of a request of mine. I would like to go visit Ashken Hill and pay some folks a visit. Thanks to the information of our good friend Kefis, Inos will nod to them. We know that if we put in, Omega, did you give a name to the Pale Lands Harbor yet?
I think honestly, you just wrote that down as Pale Harbor in the notes, and I'm like, nah, it's a good name. We're gonna keep that one. I think I just like Pale Harbor, if that's not already something important.
Yeah. And Pale.
Probably something. Probably something with the way the sun rises or something in the morning.
Well, there is I don't know. Maybe.
Or a horror movie. One of the two.
Honestly, I'm just imagining that they are House Pale, or possibly Poly. I'm not actually sure about the pronunciation, but the actual harbor I imagine is on like a white rock beach of kind of like broken up stones, so it just has kind of a lightish color to it.
Yeah. But it's like I would like to visit Astrakan Hill, which is in Tritecum. It's not necessarily a far journey from the harbor, but it is a bit of that. I don't know how much time I need there. Not to mention, I would like to pay a visit to the Convent of the Swan. We might have an acquaintance there, don't you know? Enos is being intentionally vague there. And of course, we do have friends there that we haven't got to check in on. And like, I would like to check in on the Ghoul household as well as the Alphen household. And Konrad, you wouldn't miss a chance to pay your dear Renna Motlett a visit now, would you?
That's really mean.
It's just like
I wouldn't mind feeding her, but I don't want to see your family right now.
Sorry, I was muted. I can totally picture Konrad, big bad Konrad, going, "That's really mean."
Eno's just gonna sniff. It's like, yes, like it's mean for you to throw an arm across my neck when I have a ball in my hands.
Now, play nice.
One of these is a no.
Enos says,
If anyone said he doesn't hold grudges, well.
No, he was very specific. He said the Iron Demons don't hold grudges. He said nothing about Inos.
About himself, yeah.
But like, I personally have quite a bit of business. We spoke to that Inquisitor at Weirwing Keep, and she actually mentions that there's records of saints and relics under there, and I was quite eager to know if they had any of Dea Tacita. Like, just earlier today you met one of the orders, the Islands of the Silent Graves. I'm curious to see if there's more. So I come to realize that as much as I am a servant of the Silent Goddess, I do not know necessarily of her works in the wider world. I wish to rectify that knowledge. Ugh, but listen to me, Pratt, or cuz, I'm sorry, I did not mean to take the conversation away from you.
No, that's fine. I just want to make an announcement, and
I got
Nicola,
nothing
if
to
you've ever
say
discussed this, and go.
about it. Just as long as you're okay with having less time back in our homeland. So
Oh, it's just a few days.
We have to take a stop there anyway. The way we're taking.
And it's like, well, actually, I guess that
do?
that is a question. Do we have any immediate, constant, time-sensitive things that we need to hurry back home for? We do need to prepare for summer court, but that's going to be a lot of us telling people to do things and then sitting on our hands while we wait for them to do them.
As long as it's only a couple of days, I don't see anything that is immediately pressing. As long as this is the only side journey.
Well, I don't think
be.
we'll.
I will look at Leslok when I say that, by the way.
Well, I'm an oh. Okay, now you're being mean. There's not a lot of islands, but between here and Teine. The only reason I suggested Tron is because it is along the way.
No, I'm merely joking. I merely meant to point out our cousin has inherited his father's, what's the term people use? Wanderlust.
But no, we will be quite busy once we return to our home. So we should take the opportunity to get other things done in the meantime.
Well, never mind. It's I hope we can have this. I guess on set the other matters. Nicola, we can have this conversation another time. But what is your current? I know you've always been trying to design something new, and I guess adjust a lot of your current theorems. But what are your current projects?
So, my current projects, I'm working on something. I haven't thought of what to call it now yet, but it's working on combustive propulsion is kind of the theory behind it. So basically, you know how explosions force people back? I
That's
assume
sort of-
you've been seeing all the jars they've been throwing at people, correct?
Yes.
Well, I'm trying to figure out a way to make something similar beneficial.
a cannon.
No, so kind of. Look, you're not completely wrong, but I'm trying to figure out how to harness that force, as it would, to help propel boats. I mean, you know as well as I've been spending a lot of my time across the seas over the last 2 years for various personal and practical matters. And one thing I've noticed is that when the wind dies, you're kind of stuck, unless you have a wind witch on hand. But those don't grow on trees.
You get the oars out.
Well, yes, but
Not
that only
every
works
ship's
on
big enough for
the
oars.
smaller boats, cause when you get we have like double deck ships, right?
Yeah, you should have multi-decked. Like you're at about big ships of the line type stuff. So yeah, multi-masted. Multiple below decks kind of a thing.
Yeah. It's like for a ship the size of the Seawolf, that's feasible. But you get anything better, and you start needing rowers in the hundreds, and they can only row for so long.
Yeah. Obviously,
In
this
fact,
is
actually,
just
speaking of that,
Better
you guys
than
ran
staying
into
stranded for days on end. But
the I forget the name of the
Brody Blad's fucking
boat. Yeah. But that was a
Bitch ass bonanza.
bitch ass bonanza.
I forget the name. It was a galley something, not a galley, but like a galleon,
Galleos?
but like
Galleon.
galleass. That's right. Yes, that was a hybrid sail and oar boat. It had a rower deck and a I think it was 3-masted, which meant that like it had incredible like acceleration and top speed, but for bursts because your rowers get tired, as Inos just said in character. So there's a few different methods of propulsion out there, strengths and weaknesses.
Has motors
I
been a
appreciate
thing?
both. Regardless, currently this is just a theorem I had. Ironically, as we've been around so many boats recently, particularly river travel, I more imagine it in smaller vessels than larger ones, because I imagine the amount of force needed to generate this kind of propulsion in a larger ship. I don't know how we would contain such force without blowing up the ship, which would be bad. Regardless, that's just a current theory I'm working on.
Actually,
Deal.
that's
On-
true.
Wait.
Sorry, I was actually
On a-
thinking
on a-
about that. Yeah, no, we actually needed stronger metals to actually contain some.
Yeah,
of that.
we need the whole industrial revolution thing to happen
Yeah,
for that.
I was like-
But
I was actually
what I'm
thinking
talking
about
about
that.
is steam-powered river boats, which is something that came way before.
Yeah.
Because that's I say way before. It was like 40 years before, but still, it's regardless. On a more practical matter, I am beginning to see the need to replace my other project currently. I was actually thinking of getting done while we were in. Oh my god! I just blanked on them. This is where my sleep deprivation kicks in.
Dan?
Voon? Not Voon. Why am I thinking Voon?
Describe what you're just trying. Describe
The
what it is.
island we're fucking going to.
Tron. Tron. Sorry.
Vienne. Thank you.
Oh, Tyne.
Tron first,
Fine.
then
Tron first. Yeah. Sorry.
Norlan, and then
No, the island that Kefis is from.
Tron.
Yes. Tron.
Oh, that is Tron.
That is
no,
Tron.
we're from Tyne. Why are there so
Yes.
many T's?
I said to be frank. I also said Tyne on accident. So
No, it's okay. I don't blame you. This is
There's
like the whole
only-
cholesterol.
there's less than
Aurelia.
30 letters in the English language. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's the sleep deprivation. Regardless, something I was thinking of about taking care of in Tron is I'm finding myself at the need for a more practical means of solution for this, and I just point at my arm. And I plan to have surgery done to remove it. And I would think that it would be best done before we get to Teine, because while I want to take advantage of having further medical professionals around, and I do not think it is wise for the court physician to be operating on himself.
Understandable.
And I assume Tron has some manner of medical facilities. I hope.
Yes.
I actually look at Kevin at this point.
And Kevin,
Right?
yes, can respond in character.
Okay.
Oh yes,
thank you.
there's several hospitals and medical schools similar to the one we visited today.
Yes, I need to fit a more permanent prosthetic, and unfortunately, there's a vestigial lump of flesh currently attached to my shoulder.
Understandable.
Meg, I have a question.
I guess.
Have voters been a thing, or other things? I'm thinking about rolling a student engineering thing to see if I just put something together or not.
So I was literally typing that out actually. The concept of motor or engine exists, but it is not the form that you guys would
Spoiler:
be
the thing that
thinking
Nicola is
of.
trying to do is invent the combustion engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little
Particularly
ahead of that,
what-
but you
that is going to be a
have the concept
long-term
of it, yes.
project
Yeah.
to invent a steam combustion engine.
The
I'm probably gonna
concept
have
of a
to blow
steam
myself up
turbine, like I said before, you'll be familiar with the idea that like as a like trick, you can heat up steam to have it do mechanical force. The actual like word motor should not be in your lexicon. No, that didn't come out until like the concept of like electric motors or converting either combustion or electrical power into mechanical power. You have, like I said, you might think of things as engines because you guys have water assisted power, like you have water mills and other devices like that, and should theoretically have the concept of a like steam powered device. I'm literally looking it up, and apparently there was like in the Renaissance era there was something called a steam jack, as in a device which rotates meat on a spit to cook. So like a steam powered like meat cooker basically, and not cooker as it like the steam doesn't cook the meat. You boil water with the same heat you're using to cook your meat, and it causes the spit to rotate. Yep. Like that is something that probably somebody has thought of, but macro scale engines as like moving
the
weight
thing,
or people.
I actually know a little bit about this. The thing that steam power is used for mostly now is actually mining. But as you mentioned, we don't have dynamite. So what people would do in the early 1700s is use steam pistons to basically blow up rocks.
Yeah, you guys might have like water-driven rock crushers, pulverizers, and think about like boiling pistons. But I'm gonna be honest, that's probably a very risky move and requires very high-quality materials. You guys would need very robust, reliable production of steel, and possibly even get some of your fancier alloy, certain combinations of brass and high carbon steels to make sure that it can withstand the pressure deformation.
There's a good.
Well, so you.
But basically, what I think, because you have student engineering, what Nicola sounds like he's describing is basically a water wheel, what in reverse. Instead of using water to drive a wheel that's connected by cogs to create mechanical power, he wants to use some kind of steam engine or other heat-based process to generate mechanical power to rotate the cogs in a water wheel and thus push water.
Well, because with a water wheel you need to be on a river because you need a current. Like you can't water wheel on the ocean. It doesn't work.
Yes. So yeah.
If the so Nicola is basically thinking, if water can push a water wheel, can a wheel push water?
And no. Currently, Nicola is thinking is, how can I use explosions safely to make things move?
Explosion.
That's how early he is in this thought.
Fair, I guess for the notes, I guess I have on my character.
It's very difficult.
I will wait until you actually have a prototype, and then maybe you'll like figure out.
It's very difficult to try and format the creation of something in a fantasy setting that you already know exists.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I have you guys like make rolls and talk about steps because like I said, you guys
Konrad,
understand the concept that actually Nicola's an alchemist. You would probably understand this. In real life, water is weird.
Explodes a lot.
Well, that too, but like so, water is slightly unusual in that when you actually heat it and boil it, gases usually expand, but the way water is that it's like
water's fucking magical, basically.
Yeah, the volume expansion of steam for water rate, the ratio is very good. and that's very funny because water is one of the few substances that is less dense than itself when it becomes a solid. Ice floats.
Yeah.
So like the transition of the three phases between water is somewhat unique and very very strong. So like I said, Nicola would understand through alchemy of like, well, if you do, math and you put energy through water, you can make it, instantly boil or instantly freeze, and that makes it do stuff. You understand the concept of
Play.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys would be at a point with like you could have metal teapots, right? That like you can have the little whistler in them.
Thermal shock.
Yeah, but you
accidentally
would have
cool-
the little kettle whistle, like you would understand the process of steam expanding through the spout to make a sound.
I thought you were talking about that, like if some people put on metals and then cool them too quickly, they fucking explode.
Oh no, that also especially all of you from Time would understand, like probably understand the basic principles of like, yeah, if you cool metals too much, they shatter, but also if you heat them, they get flexible. So like you would need some very tough metals to handle a lot of intense steam pressure, but.
And you know what's a very tough metal, metagame wise, that we have a lot of?
Well, yeah, iron and steel.
Ew.
Well, I was going to say silver.
We do have silver mines.
That's also true. You have a resource of silver. Silver can go through a lot of things.
Silver is extremely tough compared to like iron. It's kind of funny. The fact that silver is so valuable is one of those things that's unfortunate, just because it's really scientifically useful. Same with gold.
I mean, in terms of pure hardness, silver is pretty low on the scale. It's about as tough as your fingernail. But I believe silver does have a better melting point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's silver alloy is useful, I should say, not solid silver.
Yeah, but yeah, chemically, silver has very interesting properties because it's not very reactive.
But also, if we have a lot of silver, that also means we have a lot of copper, which is very good at doing this.
Oh yeah, I think you should have, well, not as much, but you have probably some copper deposits.
Yeah, I don't think we have as much copper as iron and stuff.
So, I don't mean to be a science nerd, but silver is produced from copper.
I mean, no, Dallas, those are separate elements on the periodic table.
Well, okay. Most silver is found in copper deposits. Or zinc deposits.
I do believe that a lot of the deposits form together, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have a variety of metals. I do think, in general, your copper deposits are smaller than your silver ones. Honestly, if they were in similar places, you probably worked out the copper first. Because copper is also soft and has a lower melting point.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a future Nicola project. Those are my two current projects.
Cool.
That he's willing to talk about, because the other project is still in its very prototype phase.
Everybody has their secrets.
Well, the question that
I've
Konrad
told the
would
player
direct towards
characters
Nicola
this.
about your project is, what about the shrapnel?
Well, obviously, I'm not going to test any of this in a way that people could get hurt.
Well, I know, but if you have an explosion, you have the potential for shrapnel. And we don't have to actually talk about it, but that is what Konrad starts the conversation with.
No, that's fair.
And talks about it with you through dinner.
Yeah, worry about being frangible, yeah.
And no, he will definitely be like, yeah, we have to figure out a way to contain it for an explosion small enough to not destroy whatever it's inside, but large enough to still create force. Yeah, this is a puzzle. But anyway, the other project is currently just code. And I've told the player characters this. I don't think I've told any of the in-universe characters. It's just how to bribe a fae is current working title.
Not like this.
I don't know if that's come up with the crew before.
Well, no, I told you that was going to be instead of making clones of my soul, that was going to be my solution, was to bribe fairies to let me use their super secret transport network.
Pretty sure he
yes,
never.
yes.
Oh, transfer network. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
to-
the abilities that fairies have to just be like,
I am
hey,
here
I'm
now.
over here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to like bribe
Not
you
like-
people to?
Yeah,
It's not
I
like
don't
you're
think
mar-
I don't think you use the term super secret Fey transportation
yes, but no,
network.
we
but-
discussed before about how to
I hope you
shortcut
understand.
is
It's not
using the
like
other
I hope
side
you.
to-
This is like this is actually saying, Steve. I hope you understand that it's not like your Marquess wouldn't secretly try to help you to achieve that.
Everyone has.
Oh no, he knows, but he also doesn't want to get the Marquess in trouble while it's in the planning stage.
Okay, discussion for another time.
Compartmentalizing. I mean, this does go back to the question of like earlier today. Axe looked at his character sheet as Leslok and says, "I don't have a lot of lie. Maybe there's some things I should because people are gonna figure it out."
I do actually have. Nicola does actually have lie.
It's funny that way.
He just doesn't have any of the ability to see people lying to him.
It's true. Any other nighttime discussions?
It is.
None for me.
No, I think I need to get lie to do it, but I'll just.
You know what? I'm discussing with my bed about sleeping.
Yes.
Oh, pillow, tell me your dirty, dirty secrets.
Please turn my killing into shock, and then turn my shock into nothing.
Well, roll your Actually, I think that's. I don't know how I keep thinking I'm not remembering this,
Body
but
vigor?
it's probably because we always get out there. But yeah, I think it's body vigor after you're healed to turn it. You
Yeah.
still have to roll. Yeah. Just a healer lets you make the roll. So
Three
roll
fours.
body plus vigor to convert it.
Nice.
All right, that should turn all of your remaining killing damage to shock. Well, it's 1 point, so I think that everybody only has 1 point left.
Yeah. I'll slip.
All slip.
Yes, it's like.
Sorry, I'm just asking for a rule clarification in the background there.
Ah.
Yes, no. Yes, you're the thing you have shown me. You should be able to bring that up. That will not necessarily require lie mechanically.
Okay, cool.
I can double check the exact description in the book, but generally you roll a charm plus lie when you are actively deceiving something or you are trying to say something without revealing everything that you're saying. If you just stonewall people, you don't have to roll lie.
Yeah, you can just say no.
Yes, this is correct.
And if you that would probably be other skills for you to be like, don't worry about it. You know, you could use intimidate to shut down.
Dallas, didn't I
public
tell you
capacity to
that
distract people.
tell you if people ask about things, just not say anything? Like earlier, for Nicola.
Yeah,
I think that was when Konrad. I was asking him about his wounds or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a couple sessions. But yes, that means if you want to bring up your second point. Or not your second point, but your new point, Axe.
Yeah, I will just post what I have written down, and I will just make a point of. Leslok will probably be doing this over, I guess, the next day of traveling.
Well, that's gonna be on a boat.
Hey, you can still bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I just.
Just traveling
I
on
just
a boat.
don't. I just don't know how public the boat is exactly. So.
well, I assume we're taking the thingy.
It's a riverboat. It's the river thingy. The boat
I'm
thingy.
tired, man.
That's the thing.
We have been going for 3 hours. If we want to put a pin in Comrade's plans to the start, your boat will not be leaving until until mid-morning. Basically, all the morning river activity has to get done. So fishing, hunting, etc. on the river gets done. People get their morning boats out, and they make sure to proof the weather. They actually look out and be like, all right, what's the cloud cover like today? What's the almanac say? Is it gonna rain? No, it's not gonna rain. Good. Or it is gonna rain. Okay, make sure we're the boat's extra waterproofed. You will be using a flat bottom riverboat though, with an awning, covering up.
I think my problem is when we say riverboat, since we've been talking about the steamboat so much, that's what I'm thinking about right now.
I mean, honestly, the design is still the same. It's just it doesn't have the wheels.
Yeah, it just doesn't have a steam. Like the old like 1500 style riverboats still look pretty similar. They just have water wheels instead of steam powered water wheels.
Yeah.
Well, and in this case, you travel the boat by oars and punts. Sometimes they use small sails, but you're going downstream in spring when the water is high, so you just follow the natural current. And actually, you get a little bit of head start because what they do is they tie draft animals to the front of the boat and just have the animal, start tugging on a roadway, and then you just pull back in the line and you go.
Whee!
Spoiler: river travel is way easier than ocean travel.
Yeah. Well, especially downriver travel.
Oh yeah.
Upriver depends on the season, because as we all know, pushing water out of the way sucks.
No.
Often that's why you would have guys with poles would literally pull the boat back upriver.
Yeah, easier for us, yes. Easier for the people who have to pull it, or the oxen that have to pull the boat back up.
Yeah.
Not so much.
But yes, I don't know if any of you want to comment on that, but I believe Axe posted a thing he wrote down because that's basically what he plans for Leslok to say to you guys.
It's like mostly one-on-one things of just I just need to be on task with everything you guys are doing, and
I'm gonna be real, Axe. I would rather have actually made this a roleplay session because I'm not just gonna type at you.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm not typing my plans either.
Oh no, that's not what I was expecting. Or
also, don't ask Dallas's current brain.
No, I will probably save this for next session, but I just wanted to make this clear. Like, I'm going to be trying to do this. I just had to put it out there before I just
that's fair. I
fool
just
myself.
brain current nerd.
I mean,
He's Jurgen right now.
Well, like I said, I think the point is not necessarily that at this stage. The point is not necessarily that Axe be informed, though obviously that makes role playing easier. But Leslok wants to raise a point that he can, if you let him in the loop on stuff, he can use the power of his office to cover for people and assist them. I would probably say not just protect them, but also throw his resources at it.
That's fair.
As evidenced by our conversation over the week that we still didn't get into, but may in Four leave about making sure to use company.
No, I'm
juice
pretty
more.
sure I know exactly what Axe wants out of this, but I'm gonna make him work for it, role playing wise.
How'd you know I want airships?
No, it's not. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I think
The Krabby Patty secret formula.
No, you're talking about my
Secret
sister.
formula?
What?
No, not in that way. The Inos.
Of course. I mean, actually, no.
You want to be
I actually
informed
don't
on the
know.
thing you're currently not informed on.
No, I don't think Axe. I mean, I do think Axe it does want to be informed of it and be involved in it, but I do think this is Axe genuinely trying to involve himself with our character, involve ourselves with
No,
the
that's fair.
characters.
It's
I
because it's the
don't
thing
disagree.
you guys have commented on in character and out of game continuously. So it's like I'm going to try to make a point about it.
Yeah, no, so it's like, no, I get it. It's just
No,
I'm not
that's
gonna.
fair.
I'm just saying I'm not going to do this thing where I type at you my goals and stuff. No, we should actually.
Oh no! I understand. I'm going to probably have a boat side conversation with you.
Yeah. No, that's
well,
fine.
no, and I want to bring this up because I'm following along here, Axe. That you presumably after thinking about it very carefully, you know, formatted your note in this way, and you're just like, I can't think of a better way to say it than what I've got written down on my note. So I'm just going to show them my note of what, like, okay, here's what I want to do. Which is a thing we do occasionally do with other stuff, and it's just like, all right, it's much easier for me to just show you what I typed rather than say it back.
That is fair.
Yeah, because it's like,
You're fine. Everyone understands, I think.
Yeah.
all right, I will do this not today because I feel like people.
Axe, we understand. We understand, Axe.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
Or chill.
Then I think then we are wrapping up.
Okay.
Because it is probably getting close to when Dallas said he might have to go early anyway, and obviously some of us are getting a little gooey. And we've been going for about 3 hours, so we'll pack it in, and you guys will start with your boat trip, which projected distance for your boat trip should be 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
So probably arrive around luncheon. Probably have a late breakfast on the boat.
Okay, it's a shorter boat trip than I thought.
Yeah. Current, like I said, current should be pretty swift. It's middle of spring on one of the major thoroughfare rivers of Crown and of Milieu in general. The waters are good.
Yeah.
All that sweet snow melt is melting. It's got to get out of there. And then that'll put you in 4 leaves, which, like I said, is you don't really have plans there because, like, technically this is when you take your leave of the prince, but it's a fairly sizable city, so you will have the opportunity to do various urban things with not necessarily being on a schedule.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
good. I have
voice.
things to do.
I have
Yeah, I know.
plans.
That's what I was just saying. It's like there were discussions of using company resources for a few things that we did not get to while in Highbower, and I think 4 leaves will be a better place for it.
Yes.
So, sorry, my throat did get a little scratchy in there. All right, okay, we're gonna wrap up.
Wrap up.
Everybody got that? All right.
Yep.
I believe that we're all very in character this session, even when being quiet about stuff, and you were all present, so everybody gets 2. I don't think anybody has locked in air mission finishes just yet.
Nope. Not me, I should say.
It should be next session because
Mine
unless
should
you
probably be
consider
done.
the prince visit done.
I mean, one thing
I
that
will say the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to point out to Axe, you might have to push for something between Konrad and Nerissa, because it doesn't seem like anything is going to happen on its own.
No, you're fair. I
that
was thinking
actually
about
what I was going
options.
to bring up was
I was thinking about some options actually.
The obviously with Conrad's thing there, you'll have a couple hours in the morning in town, but also the riverboat will probably be one of your last big moments of like your guys are all stuck on a boat together.
Yeah, fair.
So good opportunity for any last minute role playing and conversation before you guys split back up. I know that Inos managed to squirrel away some notes at the last minute. Yeah.
I made something
So you get an extra
immediately
point.
after game last time. Definitely counts.
Right, yes, that's true, actually. I remember that now. Yes, you did. So that's in.
I
I
didn't
suspect
do
Inos will have
dick
another
'cause
couple of
I've
comments.
been dead. and
I think I have actually comments to write about both princes.
Yeah, actually, no, I'm the
I
same.
have shit to do.
Funny
I
that.
have shit to do. Funny about that. I'm gonna have shit next
I'm
week.
so glad that everybody out of character and arguably in character picked up of like, hold on, there's something here, and then just nobody got like
Flood the
wonder
rolls.
tens.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
nobody got wonder tens on
Okay.
empathy, and so it's just like, okay.
Right, can
we'll
I know
feel it out.
how much did Menace roll in his life?
The
I think
pool,
he just
the
said.
result, the set rolled was 7s. I will say, I can
Oh,
tell you.
okay,
the height
so
it was 2 7s. Maybe it was
Okay.
3 7s actually. I can
But
check
yeah,
that one.
no. Like you said, I will blow my trumpet on that one. Pat myself on the back for that one. Just, that was good.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was. When I liked your moment of like being like, hold on a second, can I roll empathy here? There's something going on in this dialogue I'm listening to, and that made me really smile because I'm like, I'm just talking to myself, so it's like, okay, good. The acting is
Yeah,
working.
because you're also avoiding like I'm going to avoid talking to myself in any other previous instance.
Well, no, Omega talks to himself like in roleplay. It's just he doesn't talk to himself when it's not important.
Fair.
Like
I don't want to do exposition to myself.
yeah.
Like I can turn to you guys and say like, oh, as you know, blah 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 blah. I don't really want to have 2 characters have a conversation about facts that I, the GM, know that aren't important to you guys.
Yeah. So
Like, there's no reason for, like I said, for Kefis to have an in-character conversation with the Reverend Mother there, because he's just gonna ask stuff that's relevant to him that doesn't need to come out. You guys also so happen to jump into that conversation, but
Because
the relationship between the number 2 and the number 3 guy in the country is kind of important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And also, hey, I don't know if anyone wants to, jump into the jaws, because, like, obviously Menace is going to be on the boat ride with you. But, if you've got a moment, I
might ask the Crown Prince. I might.
Yeah, I might ask Alias. I'm not asking Menace.
No, I'm not asking Menace.
I was heavily thinking about, as we were leaving them, it's like saying either one prince or the other. You guys should just spar and get it out of the way.
Very funny.
That would be very funny. Fun fact, because I think the conversation moved past it, but I definitely left it open when I said that Alias brought up that that Menace was tutored in the sword by Lord Espada. There was I left a beat in there for somebody to go, oh, where did you study swordsmanship? Because Alias's teacher was his mother.
Another
I have this odd feeling that Princess Estelle is getting sword lessons from her mother right now. I have a
I should actually double check.
So this is the quickest way to a man's heart. Stab.
Through his heart.
Yeah, I had in mind who were.
See, now suddenly my whole romantic situation looks a lot less complicated. None of them have swords. They'll just shoot me.
You're just dealing with 2 of them.
They'll just shoot me. It'll be quick.
But yes, and I will remember to do my relic stuff. I am kind of surprised, especially because we've completely moved on it, but it's probably because you were thinking about other things as Inos, but only Nicola bit on the possible amount of, like, classic, romance drama with the prince has a childhood friend who's exactly.
I'm sorry. You know how everyone was gooping out, and I gooped out at the beginning.
That's fair.
So honestly, I didn't actually catch their names or the lady. That's why I didn't say them. I didn't wake up until like an hour in. I don't know. Oh, I know why. It's because I ate 4 chili dogs and I was going through the fucking food coma at that moment.
You shouldn't have eaten that. You should have eaten like 2 less of those.
I know. I should have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
What happened was that Logi took his kindness and spread it to the rest of us.
Yeah, I didn't wake up until like after that, because after the fact, I was like, I definitely had the moments like, oh, I should have totally ribbed Alias about that. But I missed the moment. I missed the moment.
So actually, no, you know what, Lucky? I know what we can do.
I will say that Konrad noticed it. I noticed it. I didn't do anything about it.
Enos can talk to Alias about this whole weird thing with his brother. Nicola is going to grill him about the childhood friend thing.
Okay, then I will because I also have pocket information about that. But if you're actually going to remember it and bring it back, I'll save that.
Oh no, I'm going to talk about like. So what about you? Like, because I'm still trying to figure out what Alias's endgame is. Because I want to be his wingman, but he is
just as long as your sister is there to stop you.
I don't know if you want. I don't know. You're gonna be talking. Guys are gonna be talking about girl stuff, man. It's the code, man. Girls don't talk about their romance interests with guys around. It's the rules.
Agave's going to be there.
As someone who is basically the relationship counselor for my entire high school, I disagree with that entirely. Or my high school friend group, I should say.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it wasn't your high school, it was your friend group.
No, it's my friend group.
But they were in high school. But all right, so that'll be the sesh. We have plenty of exciting role play and also more exposition. Like I said, I will actually finish out my description of all of the relic blades of all the major houses, because they're not all swords, but all the relic weapons, and so Inos can probably read about those in his book.
Yeah.
All right, so
which Konrad will be wanting to borrow at some point.
Yes.
Well, after I get done with it, I'll probably just give it to Konrad, because I want to basically figure out the origins of the designs of, what was it, the Flamberts? Where it might have been made, and then, maybe use that to figure out how it got made. which might lead us to, more information on where we need to go.
Sounds good.
Yes, I believe to remind everybody, the vague hints that Logi the Torchbearer himself gave you through the ages was, because obviously as we've discussed, when Leslok uses the sword, it does not burst into flame. Is to reawaken the flame, you would have to find a source of knowledge or power associated with Fornaxia, the goddess of fire.
There was supposedly a shrine at the south end of South City or something.
Yeah, there's a shrine or other site in the Golden Desert that'll hook you back up with that. But Enos's study has a good point in that that he allegedly had a flaming sword way before he would have gone into the south. So
yeah.
Anyway, I already said
I gotta go.
subscribe. We're gonna get on out of here. Thanks everybody. Good night.
Good night.